Last week, 2 weeks ago, yeah.
Anything you say is recorded now.
Oh, good.
Making up for last time.
Now, what can I say about Vladimir?
Could be, everybody could be used against you.
How you doing, Chris?
Pretty good there, Phil. Survived my vacation, so that's good.
Where'd you go?
Santa Rosa.
Oh, I know
Well,
that country.
We went to.
We went to Sonoma for the swap, and then.
Yeah.
Well, how was the swap?
We went. Pretty good.
All right. Yeah.
Was it really?
Not a bunch of stuff, but I'm not in the mood to buy things anyway,
No, we
and barely walk in my shack the way it is.
Yeah, I know that story.
But anyway.
Yeah.
So then we went to KPH.
KPH.
Yeah.
You know, over there on the coast.
Yeah, Point Reyes.
Well, I know where Point Reyes. Oh, the station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So we went over there and operated.
Yep.
And then we dropped off this guy in Santa Rosa and left him for the week.
Have you got family over there, Chris?
No, he got smart mouth, so we just kicked him out and left him.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he seems mild mannered, but you just.
He's not.
I was complaining about the scenery. Yeah, they were talking.
It's a misconception.
We took the long way home over there. It took 2 hours. We saw probably every cow and sheep.
Well, they got some of those. We lived in Ukiah for 8 or 9 years, and I used to go down to Santa Rosa all the time.
Oh yeah.
There used to be an HSC.
Ukiah's the one on 101, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to keep going north.
Eureka and Ukiah mixed up all the time.
There's a small difference, about 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right.
As the crow flies, doesn't look too far on the map, but
Oh,
it's.
my God. You
You know,
know,
I drove that once, and it was about 3 hours.
Well, the GPS doesn't fly like a crow, apparently.
I used to go to Eureka once a week to make sales calls.
Oh, my dad used to do that. Yeah, same thing. You go up there.
Eureka? Oh, yeah, also that.
From Ukiah to Eureka.
That road?
Well, actually, that road's actually not that bad till you get in the
Not
middle
now.
of winter when it's raining and the mountains sliding and.
We did it once in the summer. Maybe it was a different road. I don't know. We went
There's only one.
from Reading to the coast. Yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah,
went from Reading to the
299.
coast?
Yeah. I went on that one
I
about.
think.
That's $2.99.
Yeah.
Which one are you talking about?
Ukiah to Eureka.
Oh, the
Just
outroad.
keep going
That's
north.
101, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 101.
That's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all, but it's a long.
So you go up into
long
Oregon and
road,
then back down?
No,
No.
stop in Eureka, and then from Eureka, the next big stop is Crescent
City. Yeah. And then you go over the border. And
You know, Del Norte County, of which Crescent City is the county seat, there's 18,000 people in the entire county.
Is that it?
And that includes prison.
No.
Yeah.
It isn't much.
And there's a lot of people in that prison.
One time we came back from Washington, went down the coast. So we got to Crescent City, spent the night in Crescent City. So after we checked in, they told us, oh, by the way, northbound, what is it? It's 1, not 101. Yeah.
That's 101.
Is it 101 at that point? That's right.
Yeah.
Doesn't go 1 till you go further south.
One going to go down.
Anyway, 101 closes at 8 o'clock or something. The line starts forming up here about 7,
No.
The highway was closed?
Yeah.
What do you do with maintenance?
For
In one
working
direction
on
or
it, yeah.
Yeah.
For south. And okay, well, we're leaving early, so we decided to leave about 6, and we woke up about 4 and wound up leaving about 4:30.
Yeah.
Don't get stuck in that mess.
Oh, get out of there.
Yeah, so we sailed right through.
We had been up in Oregon, let's just go back 5 years ago or so, and there were huge fires all over Northern California and in Oregon.
Yeah.
In fact, it looked
Been
like
there too.
Reading was having that huge fire at the time.
That's right.
And so what we decided to do was cut over the coast and go down the coastline. And we stopped in Crescent City. Well, we did not know that there were a whole bunch of other fires.
Doing the same thing, yeah.
And we ended up coming all the way down past Healdsburg.
Oh. Healdsburg, wow.
Been there.
Past Healdsburg, and then we cut over, because we were in Fair Oaks at the time. when I used to live up in Ukiah, that was no big deal.
Yeah.
There's nice people over there. I really enjoyed
Did some work at the
living there.
Packville building in
Oh, what's that
Healdsburg.
little place over there, Boonville or whatever?
Boonville, yeah, I've been
That's
to
still there?
Boonville.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to say.
I don't know the language there, but.
The language bootlink, you gotta learn to talk bootlink.
Where is Bootville?
Boonville
Yeah.
is halfway between Highway 101 and the coast, below Ukiah.
Okay.
And it's this long, narrow, twisty road.
Mendocino, south of
It's-
I've never
Mendocino.
been there.
Mendocino
It
County.
is south of Mendocino. It's still Mendocino County.
Yep.
It's just a little tiny town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like Highway 1, as long as you're not in a hurry.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
We had to go to a wedding in Temecula
Oh, boy, I hope it
a
wasn't
few
in the
years
summertime.
ago on a holiday weekend.
Yeah,
I
oh,
said,
yeah, I
I don't
remember
want to
that
drive
deal.
through LA, so we went down 395, went that way. Then we went
You cut
over,
over and down 395.
yeah, we
You
went up,
added a little distance.
up towards Reno. Well, we're in a big hurry, but
No.
we went up towards Reno and over to 395.
Yeah, I
And then
remember that.
Coming back, we
Yeah.
went over to Highway 1, came back up Highway
That's
1
pretty.
to about Salinas. It sure is. That's a nice drive.
Santa Barbara, all that part.
And
of the
it
world.
was a holiday weekend. We never got stuck in traffic till we got home and got on Sunrise. It was the worst traffic of
Yeah.
the whole trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that now. That was Memorial Weekend.
That's amazing. We actually went to
Yeah.
Southern California and came back without being in heavy traffic on a holiday weekend.
Lucky,
Wow.
lucky you.
Of course, we weren't in a hurry because you're not
No.
going to make big time on
Yeah.
Highway 1 anyway. But that was a nice drive.
My sister lives in Orange,
An orange, huh?
and I have not been down there
My daughter finally.
probably 40 years.
Really?
And I have no intent of doing it again.
I hear you.
Not even flying there, huh?
My daughter moved out
That'll
of
do.
LA, so we don't have to go there anymore. Moved to Colorado,
Yeah.
Well, that's easier.
so it's further, but I'd rather go to
Rather
Colorado
go there, yep.
any day of the week than
Well, our daughter's
Go
in
to LA.
Minneapolis.
That's where
And
you
that
are.
one you don't drive, although I
never
have.
been there. You
Uh,
have, but why? Yeah.
Take her a car.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a Southern California kind of guy.
No,
Oh,
no,
man.
I haven't been there in probably
It's
30
just-
years.
The attitudes and everything, just all
Everything,
different.
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, first of all, the density is
Yeah.
off
That's
the
it.
charts.
Yeah.
You pick
Yeah.
a Bay Area,
Every-
bad.
Every thoroughfare
Yeah.
Yep,
is a parking lot.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
they all want to drive 90.
Yeah.
And the lane changes are so abrupt.
Oh,
It's truly a frightening experience.
Well, the amazing thing is they got commuter lanes, but the commuter lanes, when the rest of the traffic is going 8 miles an hour, they're going 8 miles an hour. And when the traffic's going 80 miles an hour, they're going 80 miles an hour.
right.
So I don't see a whole lot of difference in the commuter lanes.
Hmm.
I
But
think the answer is.
Each to their own. Some people love it.
I'm not
Some
one of
people
them.
love it. Me neither, but my dad used to say it'd be a dull world if we all liked the same things.
Yeah.
So what do you got for show and tell there?
Check out my sheet metal work.
Oh,
that's nice.
nice. Got a nice lathe, do you?
I do have a lathe.
Yeah.
Well, this is more like a break.
Yep. did
Oh,
that
break,
with
okay.
Pure P-Labs.
Genuine
PFO.
Harbor Freight brake.
Oh, yeah, you are, huh? And it's still holding up after 5 jobs, huh?
I've had damn good luck with Harbor Freight stuff.
Well,
Will ya?
if you
Well,
had to
I
make
don't
your
do anything.
if you had to make your living with it, you'd have something different. But for those of us that don't do that, it's good enough.
There's a
Yeah.
story about this. Bob Mix and I, you know Bob?
Yeah.
Bob Mix and I do this DIY radio thing.
Okay.
And so I was thinking, we need a new project. Why don't we build a receiver? Because everybody builds direct conversion receivers, right?
Right.
I think, let's build a super heterodyne receiver. And so I did.
What do you want? You wanted a single signal receiver, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get
It's a conventional single conversion super heterodyne receiver, and it needs, VFO, so it's a digital VFO. And I
Right.
ran across this particular circuit, this module from QRP Lab. It's like $30, and it produces 2 separate VFO signals
Oh, nice.
simultaneously.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
for the first mixer, and this is a down conversion, so what you need is
Oh, that's good.
you add the IF frequency to the one you wish to receive. That goes to the first conversion, to the first mixer.
Nice.
And then the second mixer, you have to add the IF frequency there
Right.
to work with the product detector.
What are you doing for IF?
Actually, the IF is actually conventional
455.
2N3904s. They're 17 dB gain modules. And then after the product detector, it's the same kind of thing, only we got about 60 dB a gain and an AGC.
Okay.
And then the audio stage. So in any event, I put that together, and it's all separate little blocks, and they're all on a piece of board, so I can
That'll make it easy, yeah.
fiddle with them and get them exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, God, the way this thing works, it'd be helpful to have a little test oscillator. So when you're playing with circuits, you can just plug in what you want.
An accurate test oscillator, yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Makes
it's
sense, yeah.
cheap, it's easy, it's lightweight.
Yeah, it's just amazing the stuff you can build now.
So anyway, that's what that is.
Well, you use an HP, what was that thing? 608, it weighed about 600 pounds.
I've got an 8640B.
But the thing is clean as a whistle,
Yep, that's what I have. I have an 8640B.
Oh, you got that?
What
Okay.
is an 8640B?
It's a big Hewlett Packard RF signal generator. It goes to 528 megahertz. It's a cavity resonator oscillator design. And this is the smoothest, cleanest signal you can get out of it.
How big is it?
Yeah.
It's a 2-man lift. Not quite,
Two-man.
it's not quite that bad, but it's a big chunk of hunk.
Well, that came out and know what to say.
But now that's
It
probably
would've
just
been
about as steady as that thing is, huh?
Now you
Yeah,
can
but
make a
you get a lot
DDS
of phase
VFO
noise
and,
stuff with this thing,
yeah.
It's nothing to write home about, but it's, for
Yeah.
our purposes, it's
For our purposes,
perfectly
it's good.
suitable. In fact, practically every rig you buy today uses the same VFO chip that this thing does, that
All
little
right.
SI5351.
Not that many
It's
of
kind of
them.
funny how that works, isn't it? They get a circuit, everybody else in the world uses it because it
Well,
works,
for an OEM, it's probably a 50-cent chip. And it'll take you all the way through 6 meters, no problem. This thing goes up to 220 megahertz,
Wow.
from 3.5 to 220.
So you have 2 VFOs, so you could use one for the transmitter and one for the receiver and tune them separately if you wanted to.
Well, you can manipulate things to make that work, but no,
No.
one of them you dedicate and the other one you use as a VFO. So you have actually the way this chip is designed, that SI5351, you can get 3 separate frequencies and have all of them variable, fixed, whatever you want.
Oh, boy, that's pretty
It's
flexible.
just a
It's
lot of
amazing.
software manipulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
What
lot
you
of
been up
bang for
to,
the buck.
John, besides saving the world?
Just saving the world mostly.
Oh, good.
Wow.
Save the world.
Hey, John, what was the story about? Do you remember?
I'm sorry?
So John what the story was about last month. Trying to remember where it was.
I don't know.
You doesn't remember either.
Well, I wasn't here.
We didn't, you were here, but we didn't record it, you remember, so.
I wasn't here. I was in Minneapolis.
You were in Minneapolis, that's right.
Come on, Ian.
You made a much better choice, probably.
Granddaughter's
But a
10th
granddaughter,
birthday.
looks a lot better than we do.
Always.
Always. That's a bona fide 100%. No
Look at
brainer.
this, Bob Eric, long time
Howdy,
no
yeah,
see.
haven't seen you in a month of Sundays.
And why'd you bring Neil with you?
How you doing, sir?
Oh, what'd
I'd
you do?
like
I had
his,
an operation last night, yesterday.
like his
Really?
Just go
sidekick.
like this. These were more than 90 degrees, so I had to operate both of them. And that would be okay.
Makes it hard to pick your nose, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's practicing for a little job.
Mm.
No, it's a contraction that's hereditary. I just can't keep on doing like this.
Going around.
Yank it out. Tomorrow this goes out and put some just little metal things in there with the splits.
We'll do this
Wow.
formally when everybody
I
gets.
leave and 2 more people show up.
Yep.
Good deal.
Oh.
Does anybody know what coffee?
Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
love a cup
all right,
of
I'm gonna
coffee. You are
start
such
that
a fine host.
I've got 5 here
So
now.
does this replace a crystal or something to that effect?
Yeah, it's,
Liquid crystal.
this is QRP Lab.
Right.
And it's $30 VFO. And one output you can use as the first mixer oscillator.
Okay.
So, in this case, it's down conversion. So you add the IF to the VFO frequency, that's this first output. The second output is just the IF frequency. So that goes to the product detector. And then you just kind of dial it in. I built it for testing stuff. Cause I got a new DIY project. It's like a build your own super heterodyne radio.
That's cute.
You like my sheet metal work?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's not bad for an old guy.
Oh. You have a pamphlet?
I do. I bought a Harbor Freight, I don't know how many years ago, and it works just fine.
How thick a metal will it take?
Anything I work with.
How about like aluminum stop signs
I don't
and
think
road
so.
signs?
I don't think so.
Okay. I need to.
Well, they're not that thick. That might be tempered aluminum,
Need
if
to
there is
cut
such a
a
thing.
stop sign?
Well, or old road signs, yeah, that I ended up with. I need to make a plate that I can put some things on to wind the cables on.
I will tell you something that you won't believe,
Uh-oh.
but you could buy a blade for your table saw
Oh,
that cuts aluminum so smooth. In fact, that's how I cut this.
Really?
Mm.
can you use a skill saw?
You can.
You just have to bolt it.
You gotta
down.
have a
So-
steady
Well, I don't
hand.
think you'd have to bolt it down.
I don't care how steady it is.
Just clamp a guide.
Oh, yeah, put a wood guide on it, yeah.
It'll work fine.
That's what I used to do.
It's surprising how well it works.
I used that to build my sim.
Oh.
The back, back down.
So you just go to Home Depot and get a blade?
I just go to Amazon.
Oh,
Yeah.
Everybody go there.
Where you put a couple little
I
beads.
don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah, there you go.
There's.
One of these days, there's gonna be nothing else left, and they'll put the prices of whatever they want
whatever
to.
they want,
You,
yeah.
you know what's so
There
hard
is
about
Walmart
this?
though, what's that?
I'm always piddling with something, and I'm always need these little pieces and parts and stuff. Well,
Yeah.
the problem is, the freight costs more than the stuff, Carol. The freight costs more than the stuff. So you can order from Amazon, you can get transistors and high Cs.
I know.
Oh, thank you.
Well, look at you.
Yeah,
Farming
putting together a
tractor
little,
days.
putting together a little, thought box. And I need 4 switches, you have to buy 12. You need 5 of these, you have to buy 20 of them.
It's almost
We got
impossible to
And
find
Amazon.
parts these days.
Yeah.
What'd you do, bring coffee, Carol, and none for us?
Yeah.
Coffee's
just
cooking.
one sip.
Wow.
Oh, I say that because John's making us some.
I got Morse
Trying to make you
code,
feel bad.
Morse code,
Did it work?
homebrew coffee brewing.
So again,
I said I was just trying to make you feel bad. Did it work?
yeah, we're good.
Boy.
This came from dinner at Panera.
Panera?
That's
Yeah.
good base.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right after doing
Yeah,
the
see, this is
gym.
the coffee, you ought to like that.
Yeah.
Homebrew coffee.
Yeah.
I love it.
Morse code coffee.
Hi, everybody out there in,
Carol told me about that.
There knows anybody.
yeah, you got the Morse code coffee.
Yeah.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Good.
Is it any good?
I like it.
Oh, okay.
So did
Yeah.
anybody love the ubiquitous?
Oh, yeah, it was good. It was a good presentation. I guess we took
Trying to
more
think.
time to kind of really capture the.
Well, there's all kinds of time. That's why I kept asking for questions.
Well, now we're looking at the video.
Oh.
It was good. It was good.
Oh, 2 people are waiting to get
You
in.
guys are so sweet.
Oh, yeah.
I tend to forget about them.
Yeah.
No, you can't forget about it. You did that last time. Somebody was
Well, it's
sitting out
easy to
there.
do.
Did they pay their
The
dues?
interesting thing at the final thing, oh, I finally took the headsets off and he was gonna just be.
Wilson and Bob.
Ooh, Bob, wow.
Wow.
Wow, what
All
Bob?
night long, right, that could be the case.
Must be NEA Bob,
If you
huh?
would just look at the YouTube, you would see.
No, the other Bob.
coming out.
Yeah.
Oh, the other Bob, W6SFM.
Apparently,
I think
he
that's his
wasn't
name.
realizing it. That's what we were.
Okay,
But it was a good one.
Too many Bobs.
You know,
The other Bob.
That's
good.
true.
Fine name though.
I know, it's.
We've got over.
Yes, it
100
is.
Videos from Sluskin.
Okay, where is everybody here?
Right.
Yeah.
Where's David?
People still go there and then look at that stuff.
Dave's not gonna make it.
Took flight down the road.
Huh?
Last time we had a dinner engagement.
And we're talking about
I think
Mr. Cassis.
everybody's probably like Bob and I, you know, it comes Wednesday morning, what kind of picture? We're like, yeah, right.
It's Wednesday morning, boy, are you early. Mine's, oh no, it's Wednesday.
Oh,
Come on in.
Oh,
Come in.
I was gonna-
Okay, I keep inviting them.
Yeah.
Come on in, you pay the exit.
Okay.
come on in.
Water's fine.
The water
There
fine.
he is.
Hey,
Dennis.
howdy.
Yay.
How was everyone?
Pretty
Good.
good.
Invite.
Good.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
4 people entered the waiting room.
So-
Few.
Wow.
Oh,
Neil was mentioning that
Hey there.
he wants
Hi.
to try
now we
satellite.
got 7 here now.
Oh, okay, gotta admit, not just invite.
M squared
Yeah.
antenna at the X
Okay.
convention. The
Mm.
dual as-L,
Mhm.
type antennas.
You did a little bell that comes out
Yeah,
when people trying to get in. So that's when he come in, huh?
Let him put it on a camera tripod or something like that, he can at least play with it.
No. Have him put it on his bicycle. And then as he's riding down the street,
You can hold it
he can
up.
do the thingy.
There you go.
Don't you think
Gets
that'd be
gets-
cool?
Gets a longer contact as long as he follows the satellite.
Yeah.
Right.
He just has to ride real fast.
You know, no
People
bicyclist on the
join
planet
in.
anymore stops at the stop sign, so you know, you don't have to
It
worry
reduces
about
the
that.
Doppler effect, right? If
It
you-
reduces the Doppler effect, right.
You know, it's kind of funny, I was at a SIR meeting, and the speaker was with the CHP, information officer for the CHP. And I asked the question, I said, how have things changed now that cyclists no longer have to stop at stop signs? And he says, well, you know, that's been rescinded. He said
Oh.
they revoked that law because of the accidents that were happening. So if you run a stop sign on your bicycle,
They
you
can
can
cite
get
you.
a ticket.
Well, it's always been true in Davis, but nowhere else that I
No,
know.
no, in the state of California. that's-
Yeah,
that's
but it's a
been
matter of
law.
what's enforced, though. It's never enforced.
But it is.
Is
Well,
it?
a lot of law.
I can tell you from
Well,
experience.
good.
that It's been enforced.
Did you get one?
It
You
ought to
get
be.
ticketed? Yeah. I'm over by Phoenix Park,
Mhm.
and guys are always blowing those stop signs down through there.
I'll
And the
go there.
CHP every now and then will stop over there and
Really?
Right.
I didn't know that.
No
We have the
surprise.
bicycle groups from Del Webb that ride by us. And there's like 8 or 9 of them and they take up like the whole lane.
oh
And
yeah.
I want a highway patrolman to pull them over because when you have 5 cars behind you, you're supposed to pull over and let the traffic pass.
Ah,
And so I think it would work with bicyclists too.
Yeah. You know what I've always wanted to do? I've always wanted to stop one of those guys and ask him, do you teach your 9-year-old to run the stop signs?
and they probably say
Do
no.
you think that's a fair question to ask?
Yeah.
You are if you're doing it and they're watching you.
What's strange to me is in California, it's legal for motorcyclists to go in between the.
Lane split, yeah.
Lanes split.
Oh, I
Well,
know. There's
we-
not
we
not
know-
too many states
Yeah.
allowed.
We call those guys donors.
But it's only under certain conditions they can split it.
Well, you know, the Harley lobby's pretty good, and they aren't water cooled, so that was the general
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah,
No.
go away.
I have no
Volkswagen,
idea
right?
Pardon?
how that
Neither are
started.
Volkswagen.
So there's running the stop sign and then
Yeah,
there's running the
yeah.
stop sign.
Can you guys hear us?
I'm sorry.
There's running the stop sign and then there's running the stop sign.
Yes, yes.
And I ran the stop sign. I was going down Arden.
You gotta turn around there.
And, yeah, anyway.
And I imagine he had no sense of humor about it.
Oh, he was very kind. It was,
You gotta have somebody call in from here,
Here's
John.
your $272 ticket.
but I always, when I'm riding, I wouldn't take my feet off the gas.
Right.
But I certainly still come to almost, I mean,
Bob, can you hear us?
almost,
I can.
All right.
Pulled over for riding.
You never know if these things are actually working or not.
Yeah.
So we got John, we got
He's an adult.
Wilson, and Kevin online.
We're at a motley crew.
I'm out having fun.
John, who's John? A.W., A.I.6W?
Go home.
I thought it was Bob. Which one?
We'll have everybody identify here after a while.
Yeah, we
will. Get started.
I got the crew here. I got 7 here right now.
Yeah, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 person.
That's right.
And we
There's
got
Wilson.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 online.
Oh, there'll be more coming, I'm sure.
Well, long time no see. What happened to Tuesday?
Hey, good evening.
We had a meeting on Tuesday.
Key to get in.
And then golf was yesterday.
Oh, we can't miss that.
No, you don't want to miss golf.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah,
Chasing that little white ball around.
Yes.
My grandson wants to learn Morse code now.
Oh, good.
Hey.
That sounds fantastic.
He's 13.
all right.
Good, good.
And he
Gotta
wants
learn. I
get
think
his
it's a
hand
good time to learn it.
that's fantastic.
Whoa.
And, I'm gonna go out and visit them at the end of this month. They're in Virginia.
Ooh,
All
that's a
right.
long visit.
Yeah. I'll be with them for a little over a week. My
Well,
other
he
grandson-
can knock that out in a week.
Yeah, yeah. But my daughter is looking for any kind of fun website or app or something for teenagers to learn Morse code. I don't know if anybody has any suggestions.
Fun ones?
Yeah,
Hmm.
something that would
Where's
attract,
Art?
that will hold the
YouTube has some videos and, how to learn from scratch.
something that's interactive.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Not the World War II training videos.
What's wrong with those? I helped make those.
You wrote those, though.
My grandkids are 7 and 5 right now. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
7 and 5.
Yes.
We have one that's just turned 10. Pretty cool stuff.
But I have one that's 8 and my oldest one is 23.
Oh,
That's a bit of
That's
a
good.
gap.
My granddaughter is very bright, and I think she will, and she just strikes me as she would be interested. So I'm looking forward to,
Morse code?
yes.
You
Radio
know,
in general,
it's
Morse
kind
code.
of funny how that goes.
Well, it's
It's
coming
in a
back.
Is what?
Coming back.
Which magazine?
You know, and the kids are interested in it, it's something different. You know, they're wearing analog watches and taking pictures.
Oh, really?
Film cameras.
That's
and
right.
things like
Film
that.
cameras?
Polaroids.
That sounds so
They're
expensive to
using
me.
Polaroid
Yeah, but
cameras.
they're also using film
Yeah.
cameras.
Yeah.
Can you even get them developed anymore?
And LPs.
Pardon?
Can you even get it developed anymore?
Film? Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
Alright.
Yeah, the store on Elvis develops them right there.
Okay.
Scan them.
Now, just think about this. Young people these days are quite familiar with chemistry.
Oh, good.
Is that bad?
Not it depends on what kind of chemicals you're making, what you're doing with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just thought I'd throw that out for.
yeah.
You know the pure microphones, they've been forever, right? I used to be,
We're on a
Did
racket.
that circuit work for you, by the way?
I
It's
haven't tried it
coffee,
yet.
coffee maker.
Tried it yet.
Oh, that was a
It's-
coffee maker?
I'm
Oh.
working on it.
Yeah, it's making
Yeah.
that Morse code.
Oh.
You don't recognize that,
Anyway,
the gurgles in Morse code, you
Oh.
didn't catch it.
Get that key click.
I'm really
Playing
surprised.
LPs
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They have a big,
They're coming
their
back
main
in
customers is Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
They make
You
them
know,
by
I
hand,
think when we did a
every
copy,
single
it's
one
got
of
a,
them.
trying to think of the right word. If it's more
The,
cold copy,
again.
Yeah, it's made in Ciudad Juarez.
it should get you wired.
The audio world
Yeah.
has gone LP
You
crazy.
know, I mean, it should be like a Monster Energy drink.
The artists.
Well,
Release special albums or something, and they're
the
limited edition.
dynamic range of an LP is like 20 dB better than the final.
That's what they say.
Right, yeah.
Oh,
because-
is it
really?
Yeah.
It's true.
That's assuming that it's clean with a good stylus and a
Well,
good cartridge.
that's the other side of the equation.
You missed it. People finally gonna know it, and you're going like a broken record. because
Yeah.
that's-
Yeah, people don't know what that means
Broken
anymore.
record is dink, dink,
Yeah.
dink.
Yeah.
You gotta bump the jukebox, yeah, that make it keep going when it keeps repeating.
Yeah.
Ah.
People are spending great big money on those things.
The tube amps
Yeah,
and all sorts
that
of
hasn't
stuff.
gone away, yeah,
No.
the two bands.
I guess they like that extra noise that's in there. Oh, look,
My 26-year-old has been collecting vinyl
huh,
for a long time.
For a long time,
Long time.
that's unusual. It's kind of a relatively recent rediscovery.
We think he's the reincarnation of a 70s rocker.
Pretty creation, huh?
You should have been told of it.
I'm not even sure I can think back that far.
Yeah.
I remember
I
the
try to forget
'70s.
the 80s.
There's a lot of people I know who don't remember anything about it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got
Sure
that right.
does.
Somebody's gotta come up with a device that, translate digital music into vinyl.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
Takes
Blow
the
your last
compressing
month.
algorithm away.
should have been here last month. That was fit for-
3 weeks ago,
Yeah,
3 weeks ago, we were down in Silicon Valley for that swap meet. And a bunch of us get together and go to breakfast. And in that group, we got a bunch of PhD guys and
oh, yeah.
audio guys and all that stuff. And I got to talking about the technology it takes to cut a record.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
How they have to make the master plate and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
they make it out of wax or something, don't they? And then
Well, then it's metal. It's
Metal.
It's
Oh, metal.
How
metal.
about the 3D?
wax is way
I'm
back.
Glass.
talking about the physics and how to make the stylus track in a proper path and.
Yeah.
You have to do a good
You
job,
remember-
yeah.
You remember Rabco straight line turntables?
No,
Yep.
They had a bar that went across that would spin. And then the stylus had wheels on it and it would track along the spinning bar
Sure.
to keep the needle straight on the.
Mhm.
Really?
yeah, but as the
Wow.
turntable turns, the position of that arm has got to follow in a path based upon the circumference
A lot
of
of
the groove.
Right.
Mechanical
And
engineering.
how do they track?
It
Now, don't
I
start
don't
something
know.
if you haven't got the damn answer.
It may just be that there's no friction because of the spinning and it follows the.
The first turntable they sure made, it was like that, with the straight arm.
But that's how the lathe cuts the master, is on a straight line. So they're tracking that.
Are you sure?
That's what I've heard.
I did
Huh.
see a few automotive record players.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, with a
I remember seeing
5-pound
Don't hit-
stylus.
Just don't hit too many bumps,
Yeah.
yeah. Not all that practical, but
It's the same.
Have
as
you,
the-
have you
The
seen the
jukeboxes
phonograph
with
where the
the
record's
spring
vertical?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the jukeboxes.
the jukeboxes.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm talking
Some
about a
phonographs,
portable,
yeah.
yeah.
no, I don't
Yeah,
remember
they
that.
have the
Strange
spring
stuff.
on, the spring on the stylus, destroys your record.
After a while, yeah. They tell you, just play them a
Are
couple
we
of times, put them
officially
away.
Well, yes, let's officially start.
Might as
So
well get-
let's start with the online folks introducing themselves so Chris can get everybody recorded here. So we'll start with John. Got to unmute.
Space bar.
Need to yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that works. Okay. I'm John from Kansas. Glad to be here this month again. I missed last month, I think. KE0ZUW.
You missed,
Glad to have you, John.
we didn't have a meeting last month, you didn't miss anything.
We didn't know.
Yeah, we
Okay,
have, we're going
well.
to get it recorded.
I didn't remember having a meeting and I lost most of April when
Oh,
I spent 3 weeks in the hospital. So,
oh, wow,
Oh, man.
that
I
explains
don't
it.
like hearing that.
but we're getting back. So
Yeah.
I actually
You're almost
Good,
about
good.
that too.
am glad to be here.
So how you doing now? You
Well,
back?
I'm getting there.
Getting
But
there?
you know, you lay around and you lose some muscle stuff. So
Sure.
All right,
working to get it back.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Keep at it. All right. Well,
Okay,
well,
Okay.
then we got Bob in Amador County there.
oh,
Bob, KA9MDP.
Yep.
What's new with you, Bob?
What's new with me? Gosh, it's just been a really busy time. So, spent the day, my wife had, and gosh, I don't know the right pronunciation of this word. Endoscopy.
Oh, yes, I know
check-
about that.
Endoscopy.
So endoscopy. So yeah, everything went okay, but it's just a thing. And so I played taxi driver and chef and all that other good stuff, and she's feeling pretty good tonight. So, but work has been extremely busy lately. And in 2 weeks, I'm going to go visit my dad in Kansas. He's 87.
Hey, that's right.
That's right, you're
Where-
gonna
where at
actually
in
miss.
Kansas?
Oh, my brother lives in Newton, and my dad's living in Heston. Not too far away from you, I don't believe.
No, not too far. I'm just down the road in Derby, about 40 miles from Heston. I
Yeah.
got a good friend that drives up there every day to work at the grasshopper plant and then comes home.
Yeah.
So Bob's gonna actually miss Bug Roundup, I guess, huh?
I am. I'm getting back on the 20th.
Well, thank you for getting all the software ready
Yeah.
to go there.
Sure. I mean,
That's
I
no
can.
small thing.
No.
Dave and I are going to do a little work on Sunday with Chat Tango. I can give kind of an update. I was working on another round of just seeing if anybody else wanted to participate. I could send you a link to the current schedule, or I could, if you make a couple changes, I could share my screen and you could take a look at the current schedule. Right now, we're looking for some help late night Friday night. We've got a gap between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m.
What do we need to change the screen? What do I need to do?
Gosh. And if you see a bunch of weird characters, I got a cat crawling on my desk here. We'll make sure it. So it's down in the share screen settings. I think there's a little hash mark beside share screen that gives other people the ability to share screen. But right now I'm seeing host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, we gotta fix that.
Don't she's two people entering the waiting room. Let me get those brought in here. Gonna admit Wilson. And admit Andy. That's what I thought, but anyway, there he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So I'll paste into the chat. This may be a little bit on the long side, but I think there's a link that would give you access so that if you went there, you could bring it up on yours.
There's a little arrow next to it you hit, and then you can allow, you go to.
One participant.
You go to advanced sharing options.
Okay.
And then you can say all participants can share. Just you click this button here.
All participants, okay.
And that will allow him to share.
Okay. Good.
Cool.
Oh, and there we go.
Carol?
So there's the schedule so far. So on the left-hand side, we've got UTC time starting at 0 hours Saturday, but it's at 5 p.m. Friday local time. Chris has got the first slot. So our gap at this point is between 11 p.m. And 5 a.m. Friday night. We've got a Saturday morning from 9 to 10 that's open. There's a Saturday, I don't know if you want to call this, let's call it evening, between 5 and 7 that's open. And then a Saturday evening at 11 o'clock until 5 o'clock Sunday morning.
Saturday.
Yeah.
And we've got a slot here on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock. And then in the afternoon, we need somebody to close us out between 1 and 3 and 3 and 5.
1 and 3, so between 1 and 5? Oh, yeah, okay. Right.
Yeah, between 1 and 5, and that would be 4 hours, so 2 slots.
Okay.
Okay, one of us,
So
I'll do some, I'm sure. Somewhere.
Yeah, so I can send out another reminder by email, and if you've already signed up and you're at your limit, that's okay. But if you get an email and you'd like to participate, please feel free to then go to I'm actually taking the signups on a Sign Up Genius website, so that's where the actual sign up would take place, and I've got the times there, all local time, not UTC time. Any questions?
Looks pretty good.
Yes.
Okay, away we go.
Excellent.
You might send the link so we can look at it later. I can look at it. I'm just
Yeah.
curious. I can.
So in the chat, I'm kind of wondering whether it'll work for me. Yeah, in the chat there should be a read-only version of the schedule. I'm not sure if you can access that or not, Chris, but it's an Excel spreadsheet.
Oh, yeah, I can see that, yeah. That's okay.
Anybody clicking on that link could be able to take a look at the schedule there as well.
Okay.
Great.
So we got Bob heard from. How about Wilson? We were doing introductions here and then we got sidetracked, but that's okay.
Hey, I got dumped off the Zoom. I'm not sure what happened, but I want to say good evening to everybody. I'm Wilson Head, N6EMF, November 6 Echo Mike Foxtrot, and I've been a member for a couple of years and haven't been that active lately. Just got a lot of irons in the fire, but one of the things I've been working on, I don't know what I'm supposed to say, but stop me if I'm off track, would you please?
Okay.
But this is one of my latest projects where I created this little shelf, in my shack where I have all my all the stuff that I use on a frequent or daily basis for ham radio is on this little pine shelf system that I built up. And I've been working a lot with Arthur, KB6 GBY on CW practice. So I'm trying to get ready to be a contributing member to the CW parties. How's that?
That's great. And by the way, about that, there is a repeater that's just a few miles from Bob's place there in Amador County, that every Friday at 7 p.m. they have a net and talk about CW, and then they go MCW at 8 o'clock on Fridays. And they go slow to medium speed. So
yeah,
Chris, it would probably put you to sleep, but the rest of us, it's probably around, I think they do like between 10 and 20, and they'll slow down if you need to.
Yeah, I would need to slow down. I'm hovering around 6 to 8 still, but I'm definitely getting better, getting my head around the QSO process.
You might try that. It's
thank you.
440, and the repeater's only 5 watts, but he's got a really good antenna on a low loss feed line and up there about 60 feet, and it covers most of Sacramento pretty good from an HT.
I got a question about that. How are most people piping audio into their rig? Is just with a
there's
code
2 ways
practice.
you can do. Yeah, you can just hold the mic in front of your code practice oscillator, or you can use one of Phil's devices that he built a couple of years ago to do that also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So either way works.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I was thinking about ways to direct couple tone into my or mobile transceiver, and I'll give that some thought. I'd like to try that too. So I got a signal link, but it's for USB, and I'm not sure if I could get regular signals into it to sort of
But,
bypass the
you
USB.
You can just hold the mic up to the code practice speaker, and then you can talk too.
Yeah, that'll work just as good.
So, yeah.
And you don't want to put anything ahead of CW, right? You don't go out and invent something so you can do CW, but then you avoid the practice, right?
Yeah. Well, the nice part about that the way he's doing it is you can you can talk about it, so people just learn it. You can talk about it, and they can tell them what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, and
Right.
it's next best thing to in person, and it's all RF. That's the best part about it.
Very good. Thank you.
RF than internet myself.
Oh, I agree.
That's because I'm an old guy.
That's right.
Well, I
But
appreciate
they're
that.
both
I hope I nailed it. I'll turn it back over to you.
No problem at all.
Question, where are you doing a CW practice with Art right now?
Well, so what ends up happening is sometimes we'll just get on the air and just do a quick QSO, like we'll arrange a phone call and select a channel. We'll get on the air like 40 meters, and we'll just call, CQ with kind of in a generic fashion, and we'll go back and forth with a response, give a signal report, and then 7-3, close it out. So we did that 2 or 3 times, and he sends me these recorded wave files for me to copy, and they are like sample QSOs, and also he sends me emails, and I think he helps a lot of people, but right now he's giving me a lot of time, so I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Who are you working with, Wilson?
Arthur, is it K6GBY, KD6GBY?
Yeah,
He's a member.
Okay.
Oh, okay, he lives South Sacramento, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Okay. I know who you mean. So
Yeah.
40 meter. He doesn't have an 80 meter antenna, so he doesn't come to the net.
Right.
Oh,
Gotta get him one.
I've got
Yeah, we need to get you one too, Phil.
Yeah.
I'm never on.
So I've got a 40 meter in-fed half wave, and I built my own 75 meter coil for it, so I can get to 75, but I haven't figured out how to get to 80 yet. So
A little more coil, I guess.
Needs more.
put some more turns on it. 5 more turns.
Something like that.
It's 130
Wow.
turns on a 1-inch pipe, so I guess I could add maybe 5 or 10 more turns and get a few more out.
I don't know. Phil's got a website for that, right?
Grab your nano VNA, we can dial you right in.
That's true.
I appreciate it. Appreciate that support. Thank you.
There's always a way to get on 80 meters if you want to.
What you need, Wilson, is a fence ZEP.
Fence is
ZEP.
You got a fence?
I know what a ZEP is now. It's a quarter inch matching section. I mean, the quarter wave matching section, right?
Okay.
Yep, that's the key.
You had me wondering.
That's the key, yeah,
There's always
yeah.
something new. You had me wondering with the quarter
60
inch.
feet there.
Quarter. It'll be a quarter inch on some band, but not the one we're talking about.
Yeah.
There you go, quarter inch.
Yeah, kind of like it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
by the way,
right.
let me show you my last thing for tonight.
Sure.
I created this. I took a little cheap clock that I was about ready to donate to Goodwill because I wasn't using it, and I set it for UTC. How's that?
All right.
What a guy.
Way to go.
Love it.
So now I don't have to waste it. Thank you.
You still need to get a Sharpie and mark 13, 14, 15 around the. That's what I did in the
Or at
60s.
12.
And I'd listen to WWV for 45 minutes and get it just right on the
The time is.
right when
at the
zero
quarter.
started.
Hey.
No easy task, Then
Yeah.
you miss it, you got to start over.
You gotta wait another minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
boy.
WWH has a much more pleasant tone behind it, right? Yeah.
WWV, WWA.
I think H is Hawaii. 5
Hawaii.
megahertz. 5 megahertz.
Yeah, familiar with that.
They don't play tones, they play hula dance.
Well, they used to do it in CW years ago.
Oh, really? I don't remember that.
Who doesn't remember that?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that. Well, you're not old enough. In the 60s, they did it. I think I remember reading back then that they were going to switch over to voice.
Oh, yeah, don't remember.
But
what,
they did it.
70?
I know Chris remembers. He's as old as I am.
Yeah, I remember.
Remember
that.
the
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh,
Yeah.
come on up here.
About 72, I think they switched over.
72. Huh?
Yeah,
72?
somewhere around in there.
I don't remember that, because I was listening in the late 60s. But I don't remember CW.
I think
Where did they move to Colorado,
I think
John?
maybe-
You remember that too? They were
yeah, I
in
remember
Maryland.
moving to Colorado.
Yeah, they were in Maryland
Fort
forever.
Collins, Colorado.
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe the WWVH was voice and WWV was CW.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was too. They
Something
were both
like
were.
that.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Something like that.
they're both CW.
Okay.
Modulated CW, by the way.
Well, let's see. We haven't heard from Andy yet.
Hey, good evening to all. And Wilson, I'm one of those that does that Friday night at 8 o'clock. And it really is helping. I'm still in your category of not very good and not very fast. And it helps me to get better and better. And that's why I don't sign up on that roster for that. I guess it's a contest.
For the bug
I don't
roundup?
sign up because I'm not up to a speed enough to operate on that contest. Anyway, I'm working on it, and that Friday night is a very good deal. And Jim and George manage it up there, and it's very easy to hit either with a Hotel Tango or a regular VHF radio.
Well, that's
So anyway,
Thank you.
what I like about it. People have never done CW, don't have an HF rig. It's a way for them to get started in CW.
Yeah.
Some
Yes,
recruiters, they'll run you off if you use CW on it, but this guy
yes,
doesn't mind.
and they encourage it, and they support it up there. So
And
I
it's 5
use
watts. That's what I
my
like.
I use my ICOM 7300 in a non-transmit mode as an oscillator, and then I just hold my microphone, VHF microphone, to it, and it works very well. It's a little bit of a
Yeah.
trick to learn to hold the microphone in one hand and transmit in another hand and
Oh,
pat
well.
your tummy at the same time, but
Well, it's part of the training.
it's just part of the training, yes.
I
Yeah.
used to do that years ago too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I'm actually going to move my speaker of my code practice oscillator over near the VHF rig. So
So I've been threatening for a long time
You
to take my rig off shelves in the garage and build a little shelf for it. And I just did that this past week. So I'm kind of doing the same thing that Wilson just talked about.
Hey.
And mine is designed to take out in the field for field day and stuff like that. So
Did you
I'm
use
looking
balsa
forward to
wood
that.
or pine?
The shelf is
Mahogany.
pine, and the uprights are perforated steel angle iron.
Choose ebony.
Good. Ironwood.
anything you want, yeah.
It's fun to get that.
All right. Well, very good, Andy. Thank you for that. That's good stuff. I'll
Yeah.
try to get on
Yeah.
that net one Friday evening.
And I have the details of that on the Groups IO.
Right. Saw that. That's
I
pretty
put
cool.
on the Groups IO for the W6SFM and also the K6 or W6EK
Yeah. So, yeah. Cool.
Groups
You
IO.
know,
They're on
I
there also.
appreciate that. I think Arthur mentioned that in an email the other day, and I'm beginning to connect the dots. So I appreciate the reinforcement, and I will look for that. In fact, I'm not an IO member for this group, so I got to make sure, be on the lookout for me so you could add me. Thank you.
Well, we have to connect the dots, you know.
Yeah, I have to connect the
So I
dots.
just put the link for our Groups
For the
IO
disc in this case.
group into the chat.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, good. We need to get it on the website, actually.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Let David know.
Yeah, if David was here, he'd hear, but he's not. That's okay.
That's okay.
Not everybody can make it to every meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. So Dennis,
What are
your turn to talk next.
Well, let's see. So who I am, this is Dennis, KG6ZI, and currently I'm working on getting my antenna in order. Phil, I may chat with you about
Oh, we love to talk
DNA
antennas.
and trying to get things. It's becoming a real pain to really get power into it. It's not performing the way I think it should. So I'm getting to the
What
point where-
you need is some of Chris's RF wax.
I do.
Oh, yeah.
Or just lubricant or something.
Is that better than the spray?
I think it is.
I think it is.
Probably sticks on better,
Well, you know,
especially,
you can polish the wax.
especially with all this
wax.
rain,
Polish the spray.
especially with all this rainy weather, the spray probably rinses off way too easy.
So the
But
other
we'll
thing,
figure it out, Dennis.
the other thing about the tent, it's a loop. It's about
Oh, no, that's great.
280
Well,
feet
80.
worth of wire in a loop. And it performs on receive the way you would expect a loop to perform. In the sense that the noise level compared to a vertical is about
Quiet.
2 S units quieter.
Mm.
But the signals generally are the same as you were here on the vertical. So you have a larger signal to noise ratio on the loop, which is, it's a nice receive antenna, certainly there, but it does not like taking power. It's impossible to match on 4E. I can't get a match on 4E.
So how much wire do you have?
About 280 feet, 280 feet.
We'll take a look.
That's
at it.
about what
We'll
I
figure
have.
this
It
out.
it loads up
What do you feed
80
it?
through
10?
10.
Yeah, it's a pain. I suspect.
What do you feed it with?
So you got enough wire.
Open wire line,
How much?
That's good.
and it's about
You gotta-
about 105 feet worth of open wire line.
You gotta
So I'm
find a magic.
thinking I may have one of those odd lengths of open wire line that's,
You got a what, 4-to-1 hooked up to it or what?
no, it's a 1-to-1.
So that
Oh,
might,
that might be it.
yeah, that might be it.
So
You have
I-
4-to-1?
I do not have a 4-to-1, and if somebody wants to loan me one, that would be great.
We can make anything.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
make
no,
those.
that's
For,
right.
You can make
But it would
anything.
save time if I have one.
The other thing is too, what about the feed on it? Trade, you got it all over the place. Doesn't do any metal object.
Oh, I think I'm okay there. I think,
yeah, because that should load. You got enough wire as long as it's not too short. That ought to-
Here's the,
That's exactly what I have, except that it's horizontal and it's about 12 feet off the ground on one end, 20 feet on the other end. So it's not real high, but it works.
that's what baffles me. It's,
We can make some measurements and figure out.
that would be
what's
great.
going on.
And I have a good analyzer too. And so, yeah, that would be great.
We'll figure it out.
Okay. So Carol, what's new with you?
Wow, okay, well, as I was mentioning before, I was back east, last week and, spent some time with, my grandkids and, my one grandson is 13 years old, expressed some interest in ham radio since I brought a little, one of those Baofangs and, he said, oh, well, what's this good for? I said, it's good for talking back and forth, you know, and not only this, but we can use Morse code. And he said, what's Morse code? Well, I brought up this little app on my phone that you could type of any words in there and then you push the button here and then it sends Morse code. You see, and so I said, oh, could I try this? So he put in supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
oh, I can't even spell
Sent it
that.
to me, and I said, on the 6th letter, I know what the word is. And his eyes opened up like this. He said, wow, you can actually figure that out. And so he spent like half an hour sending me all
Oh,
kinds
that's
of
cool.
sentences. Now he wants to learn.
Yeah.
So
Oh, here, pick it up quick.
we're working on that. Actually, he's been sending me text messages with pictures of him writing out the dots and the dashes for me to decode. So I sent him one back like that, but I said, this is not the idea.
Man, that's
It's
tough
not-
doing it that way. When I see it written like that,
I can't read
it takes, I have to sound it out to get it.
Kind
It's-
of sounded.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm going to bring him a code oscillator. Actually, I have the code oscillator. It used to belong to Jennifer Hughes.
Oh,
who took-
right.
Who took the class.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh,
with
I
Michael.
took the class,
Yeah.
right,
I
right,
got
right.
her oscillator and her key, so I'm gonna bring it over there to him and practice with him and then leave it with him so he can send it to me. We can send back and forth
I just-
over the phone or over
Mm.
video chat.
Well, I could
So,
send you the new and improved oscillator, the one with the upper and lower case, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the little board, and I brought it to one of our meetings. I stuck it inside an air freshener can. And you can adjust the volume by opening and closing the vents on the top. It works darn good.
Chris is still waiting for FCC approval on his new mode there for
Yeah, yeah.
upper and lower case. So
Is it
that,
called RTTY?
that could take years, you know. how
You know your
technical
bad,
stuff
Chris.
is.
But yeah, I need to check into our net a little bit more regularly. One net that I do check into is Marco, which is the Medical Amateur Radio Council.
So that's on the 40 meters, right, in the morning?
We're in the morning on Sunday, and on 20 meters.
20 meters.
They have a single sideband net, and then just before that, at 7:30 in the morning, they have a CW net, and that's on 14140. So I've checked into that a few times. That only lasts half an hour. Then they go over to the sideband net, which is where they do the grand rounds of the air, where they discuss medical conditions. Since there were a bunch of doctors and nurses and stuff.
Oh, cool,
And that
yeah.
Medical Amateur Radio Council. And they invite anybody to listen in. If you want to learn about health conditions, it's a place to listen. If you're up early, 8 o'clock in the morning on Sundays, and they're on 14342 upper sideband.
Okay.
But yeah, I love CW, and I still love CW, and I'm glad we have this club going, and glad to be part of it.
Good.
Right. Cool.
And Kevin, I did forget about you, but
No, you did.
are you there? You didn't have a picture, so I didn't, I bypassed you.
Yeah, I'm here.
What's new with you?
Oh, not much. I'm just resting my eyes.
Okay.
I do that all the time.
So that's Kevin, K6KN, right?
W.
W6.
W6KN.
That's all right.
Yeah, when I do the net, I have a cheat sheet and I still miss it sometimes.
Yeah, you do.
Between the K's and the W's.
That's where
and
you
the-
spell his name. That's where you.
Yeah, when I started out there, every radio station was only either a W or a K.
Yep.
That's
and
right,
then
they
I-
were. That's right. I know.
You know, I was away for 25 years. I come back, it seems like there's every letter of the alphabet in there.
Then you run into me. Wait, where did you get that call?
Time marches on, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, WM, those were novices.
It was, WN was
Yeah.
novice, and which is what I had.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah, any of us had back then, usually, most of us. Some people went right to general, but most people started with the novice. Yeah. But now there's WN and it doesn't mean anything.
Yep.
And there's a few novice,
He could
still
be-
few
oh, yeah,
novice
he could
tickets
be-
out there.
That's right. You could be
Huh?
he could be
Yeah.
in any district now. You
Yeah,
could be
they
a
went
zero,
to,
yeah.
it used to be 1 year
Right.
non-renewable,
1 year
then it
non-renewable,
went to
yep.
2 year non-renewable,
Right,
and now it's renewable.
10 years.
So if you
yeah.
have a
Really?
novice
I
ticket
had
from
no
way back,
idea.
I've worked 2 or 3 of them
I had no
on
idea.
CW.
Yeah,
They're pretty rare, but
but they're out there.
they're out there, a few of them, yeah.
How-
Well, I know a guy's a general class, he still has a WN6 call.
Yeah, that's true.
Why not?
And N6 is a good CW call, you gotta
That's
admit.
good, yeah.
But I've had mine so long that if I changed it, I'd have an identity crisis, so just gotta leave it
That's why I
alone.
did mine 40 years ago. It wouldn't, it didn't hurt much.
It was ugly for a while.
Yeah.
I have enough trouble doing
I've already got that call.
W6SFM and
I ran into a buddy of mine, he worked at KFS, KFS, and he was down there one night.
KPH, yeah.
Yeah, and I called him. I had turned my power way down, far to go, and he said, he finally heard it, it said AI6. I said, what the hell kind of a call is that?
A weird one.
He thought it was
Yeah.
Chinese or something, so. Then I powered up, and went to full power, so I told him who I was, and oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
So next,
Neil.
Yeah, Neil.
Neil.
Yeah.
First time in ham radio was in Brazil, 1960s.
Ah,
Like
Oh,
you had to be 18 to be a Android.
oh, really?
really?
And then,
Some countries have an age limit.
yeah, and
When did you start doing that?
my
I know that.
father was in electronics, and he said, if you build the equipment, I'll get the license and you operate. So I built a 606, modulating a 606 AM, 15 watts. And use a old radio with a rubber band to do a band spreader so you could tune it. And that's where we started. But came to the States in 1971, got my license, the W6 ZTY. Held that for a few years until I went to Alaska with the Air Force and got a KL7. I keep it to today.
So what's your call now?
KL7 Hotel Quebec Radio. And got my license here with, as an advanced. I still hold an advanced class. So I had to actually go to the FCC down in LA to get the license and pass the code.
Yeah.
But then I used the code in Alaska. I think I mentioned that to one net. I participated in supporting the Iditarod race, the first one.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I read about
And,
that.
Went up in a boondocks with the race committee. We put you in a small airplane, you go out and there's stay in some kind of a cabin. And I got there, I forgot my microphone. And I had a TR3, so I had a chance to kind of take it apart and get a couple pieces of metal and made a little key and connected in there. And I got in the net. The next day, the whip plane came and brought my microphone. So it was very useful.
You know, you could have made a carbon mic out of a telephone if you had one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have sounded very good, but.
And then I didn't use it, stayed out of ham radio for 20 years.
Yeah, I was kind of like that too.
So I had to start all over again. So I took the class with Mike. I think the one from the last class that he took, and working on it now slowly to get that.
I was amazed how easy CW came back for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm a slow learner, but once it's in there, it's in there.
No problem getting back.
Got a good long-term memory, I guess.
But the speed recovery is
the speed
very
you just
difficult. I'm having a hard time getting the speed back.
just by doing it, you know.
Like riding a bike.
And more you do it, before you know it, you're faster. You don't even know it. So.
Yeah. So I still enjoy it. Yes.
But
Personal satisfaction is fantastic.
I kind of like
this.
this.
To Carol, Smithsonian Magazine this month has a beautiful article on CW about Henry.
Which magazine?
Smithsonian.
Oh, really?
QST?
No, interesting. Smithsonian.
We got a rent a counter article.
Yeah, we need to get that article. I don't get that magazine.
I can get a copy and.
Yeah.
I can scan it and.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you want to give a presentation on it next month?
Next month.
If I'm here, I think next month I may be a board trip.
Oh, okay.
But I will make sure that.
Okay, maybe a different one then.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, save that article and share that with us. Yeah, not next month. So you said you won't be here.
July.
Yeah, July or August or whatever.
When you going on your thing?
Oh, we're going to August in August.
After the meeting.
Or yeah, it's around the meeting now. It's not during the meeting.
I have a question. Does the article mention that it was originally designed to be for deaf people to communicate? That's the reason they invented Morse
I
code.
didn't know that, and I don't think you did.
Yeah, because
never heard that.
Morse worked with deaf people. I think it was.
Well, you know, they actually done it. I know a deaf blind guy, they took a PM speaker and they made it.
They were using it to make dots and dashes on paper. So that the deaf people could communicate that way.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting part of the history of the
Didn't know
original
that.
reason.
I had no idea about that.
I didn't either.
You know, our daughter is deaf and she went to Gallaudet University.
She
And I
did.
suspect Gallaudet would be familiar with it very
Oh,
well.
absolutely.
Oh, I bet they are.
Yeah.
Like back in DC, I'm
And
sure.
Use a light bulb instead of a
Well, I
oscillator.
don't make a light bulb fast enough, but.
Well, LED would be. Well, it depends. Not
Well,
at
the
your
human
speed.
eye can only go. So.
Hey, your speed,
Well, the Navy
speakers aren't fast enough for your speed, but anything below 35, he goes to sleep, you know, so.
Yeah, I didn't know how to wake me up. Though.
You're saying the speed of light is too slow?
Yeah, for Chris it might be.
They done it with the speaker for the deaf blind folks, and the trick there is to keep the frequency low. You know, maybe I don't know, 20, 30 hertz, we can really feel it. vibration of it, or
Oh, so
use
you
a
can
buzzer.
actually feel it
Yeah,
with a powerful speaker, I guess, huh?
yeah.
Or you just put the electrodes on your
So I guess you could do that too.
hand or something?
But you're too high, though.
Switch.
That could be
Seems
shocking.
like you'd need a pretty good amplifier and speakers to,
You know, at
so you
Gallaudet,
could feel
they
it.
play sports.
Oh,
And if they're sending in a play to the football team, they beat on a drum because they can sense the drum vibrations.
Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
I guess people do what they have to adapt, yeah.
They adapt pretty damn well.
Yeah, yeah. Bob,
Well, what do you wanna know?
You learned that
what's your
long
call?
time.
I got a short memory.
N6 PGQ,
Oh, PD. Okay, make it PDQ.
PG, Papa Golf. Yeah, and I know it'd have been nice. It'd be easier to send too.
PGQ?
Yeah. What have I been doing lately? Lately, I've been going to wrecking yards with my kids and taking car parts apart. But radio-wise, how did I start out? Well, I sat in my grandma's house and she had one of these great big console radios that had a switch over to shortwave.
Well, silver, what was it,
remember those.
Silvertone?
Those
big.
Yeah, great big
Yeah.
cabinets.
Yep.
Big old
And
beat.
so listen to all sorts of interesting things there, and I couldn't figure out what RTTY was.
Wait a minute.
But yeah, anyway,
The big problem with those, they didn't have any BFO.
no.
No.
So CW or sideband, you were
Didn't
severely
work.
out of, yeah.
Yeah. So
In those days, there was no sideband.
True.
It
But
was some, but they were
CW,
almost the AM.
my first receiver, I had to add a BFO,
yeah,
so I could hear CW.
so I was my girlfriend and I was dating. Her parents invited us up to a cabin at Echo Lake that they went to every year and spent time at. Here is my future father-in-law sitting there on the cabin porch with his Swan 350 and a Heathkit 2-meter radio that had, the little
The tour?
rotary switches on the front of it that you could change the frequency on it, the little snap switches.
Oh,
That he
touch
built.
switches?
No, they were, click, 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 click. They had a
Oh,
little
right,
bar on
right,
the
It
right.
wasn't
thing.
a lunchbox, it was something else.
Yeah,
And so-
switchable crystals and,
Yeah.
Yeah, it changed the frequency and
yeah, rotary switch,
I remember
probably,
it
crystals,
came,
yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, that looked kind of interesting, he was talking to whoever.
Gotta watch for those girlfriends.
And yeah,
That was probably AM back then, huh?
Yeah.
no, it was just,
Is it FM?
it was sideband.
Oh, yeah, the
Sideband.
side on 350, yeah.
Swan 350.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, down
So
the,
that was a bleeding edge of,
It was
Sideband,
yeah.
yeah.
An old 350. I mean,
The old
yeah,
350,
chase
yep.
people around everything.
yeah, that was pretty modern rig in its day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of neat. So a couple of years later, he said, why don't you get your ham license? And so my mother-in-law decided she'd get one too.
oh.
So we decided we'd have a race and see who could get their ham radio
Oh, yeah,
license
there you go.
first.
And you,
Okay.
And so
and the winner all won,
I
right?
found out that River City Arcs was giving ham radio classes.
Oh.
And so you'd go there and one night they were teaching theory and the next night they were teaching code because you had to pass 5 words minute to get your novice license.
Right.
And so we had this race and unfortunately for me, my mother-in-law beat me by about a week.
Oh, man.
Oh,
So
good.
anyway,
Ladies first.
that didn't make me feel real good.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I got.
So she was your mother-in-law by then, or potential mother-in-law?
No, she was my
I
mother-in-law
see.
by then.
Oh, you was.
So,
Even worse.
yeah, even worse, yes, I know.
Did
So
she still rub it in?
You're right.
occasionally.
Okay.
I can see that now at the family dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fortunately, my dear wife was used to having like radios under the dash of the car with a dynamotor under the hood, you know, to power the silly
So she just
things.
thought that was normal,
And
so.
so I could put radios,
Way
she
to
won't
go.
let me put holes in her car, but.
Oh, wow.
But, you know,
Got
she
one there.
doesn't mind the radios hanging
Yeah,
down
good
from
old
the dash or
dynamotors.
anything like that, so that's pretty good. You know,
Pretty
when we
good,
moved
yeah.
to our house, which most of you guys have been to, she said, you can put up, I mean, I just don't wanna see it out my kitchen window. So,
Yeah, you're kind of off to the
Yeah,
side.
that's the way
it's
to do
off
it,
to the
Bob.
side.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah,
that's my radio story.
Why?
it's a good story.
Long time. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So what
Hey,
about
it's
you,
Wilson.
Bill?
I
I know
I
you
wanted
got
to
a story.
you got
Well,
we gotta have.
Let me get your call down again. Like I said, I got a short memory.
I think Wilson was saying something.
KD6RM.
Okay. I knew that.
Mine goes back a long way.
I mean, talking about being a dinosaur, almost.
Fossil.
Awesome. Yeah, well, we're not far behind.
Mine starts with a TV guy coming out to the
You know what?
house.
His is gonna be long. Anybody want to get coffee? It's ready.
Oh,
I'll go for a cup of coffee.
yeah, I'm
Are
ready
you gonna
anytime.
retrieve it for me?
Well, order like 4 and you come over and
Okay,
get
I'll
it.
come get it.
That way you get the creamer. If you
Well,
want
the
creamer.
long and short of it was this TV guy comes over to the house, and in those days.
Oh, that one he
I
had a little
was
bag or two?
Absolutely
Mm,
fascinated with electronics.
yeah,
It didn't matter what it
What do you
was.
mean in those days?
You know, there's truth in that too. So in any event, the guy actually invites me down to his shop. He says, come on down on Saturday, and
yeah.
I'll show you how
You already
some
done
of this
with your
stuff
coffee?
works. And
How
so
about you, Dennis?
every Saturday, I'd hop on my bicycle and ride down to his shop. And he
Okay.
taught me about the Bohr atom.
The old TV shop.
And he taught me the periodic table of elements. And he taught me about Ohm's law,
there if you want
and Kirchhoff's law.
Morse code coffee.
And then we got into electrostatic deflection, we got into colorimetry, we got into mass spectrographs, and now we deal with those things.
This guy really knows stuff.
This guy threw me to the wolves, and it was fascinating.
And this guy was a TV guy, and he
He
knew
was
more
a
than that.
TV guy.
Yeah,
And at some point, I think I started going there when I was about 9. And I got my license at 11. And I've just never been able to get away from it.
so he's doing about.
And to this day, if it involves the physics of electricity, I've stuck my nose in it in one fashion or another.
I think the least that you participate is actual operation.
I'm sorry?
You don't do as much operation.
Well, I did in my younger days, but it's not nearly as exciting for me as this other stuff. I mean,
Oh, there's always something new, you know, what you're doing.
oh my.
Always something new.
Who could imagine that for $50, you could have a vector network analyzer?
Well, we didn't even imagine.
Or a spectrum analyzer.
We didn't even know what they were in those days.
We had no idea. I mean,
I've
today,
heard of them.
there is so much information
I
available
know.
and so many incredible tools
It
that
is.
there's just no limit on what you can do.
It's true. People say you can't home brew anymore. That's
Oh,
nonsense.
That's not true.
It's
They
just
just
the
don't want
opposite.
to, and that's okay if you don't want to.
It's
But
just the opposite. It's so easy to build anything today.
Well,
It's so
Never
easy. It's so
imagined
easy. It's so easy not to practice CW.
Amen.
Wilson's on top of it.
But it's worth it.
You know, as you get into this stuff, I hate barriers. There's nothing worse in the world than going as far as you can go and you hit the brick wall, you can't go any further.
yeah.
That's what got me into welding.
The welding? Oh, that's another good.
You ever build a
I'll
wood
get the
gate and
connection.
have it sag?
Yes.
Well, the solution to a wood gate sagging is a steel gate.
Yeah.
You're right. It doesn't
And
rot.
so after that, then I had to get into the machine tools. You know,
Yeah.
you gotta have a lathe and a milling machine.
Right.
And then,
Well, that can hand.
and then if you want some excitement, what you need to do is you need to race motorcycles. 'Cause
Oh, now,
there's
yeah.
some excitement. I mean, I've got a lot of these bad characters.
There's a
lost.
story that goes
They
along
just-
with that that's ham radio
I-
related. I don't know if you want to tell it or not.
I know.
Well, they don't. It's just character assassination.
You still riding the bike?
I quit.
Oh, that's smart. What made me quit?
Well, actually, I quit because I was involved in a fatal accident on the racetrack. And I thought it was me that was the fatality.
Oh, man.
It wasn't, thank God.
How long
But
ago was that?
That was 1969.
Oh, you quit a long time ago. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to love that.
Yeah, that's,
Steel shoe.
Flat track.
that was,
Oh, God, I love flat tracking.
that was before I knew you at NorCal.
You must not
Olympics
been married
Supply.
yet.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. You must not been married yet.
No,
Yeah.
no.
She knew that about you. She would have said, no. Too much liability.
I've been called that before. But anyway, that's my story. And, if you wonder why I don't operate much, it's because I did that many, 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 many years ago. And it was truly exciting in those days. And some of this other stuff just becomes more
It
and
is
more
exciting
and
in
more
itself,
fascinating.
yeah.
It is. It really is.
So anyway, that's my story.
I like it.
Hey, guys, I'm out of here. It's good stories and lots of fun. See you next month.
Okay, Andy, thanks for stopping by.
Come in.
Have a good night, Andy.
Good night.
Good night, Andy. Pretty good coffee.
Morse code, homebrew coffee.
How can one fail?
Thanks to Carol.
Thanks
That's
to
where-
Carol. Yep.
Where did you find this?
It was an advertisement that came up on Facebook. It popped out of nowhere.
Well, I saw that. You brought that
Oh,
by.
that's good.
Morse code coffee, so
Yeah.
Millie had some the other night and then she started, snoring in Morse code. Not really. Not really.
I'm not so sure I'd buy that story.
Yeah, well, you're right. It's not April anymore. I can't.
No,
Can't
too
tell
bad.
any more
You need to
boring
put an extra,
stories.
you know what, we had to lobby for one more day in April.
You mean, well,
Yeah,
if we had enough bogus stories, we could
30, well, like February,
go
right?
into
Yeah.
the next month, but we have trouble getting enough just to do April.
Yeah,
You
no,
saw the
Let
one
alone
in
too much.
QST, right?
Pardon?
You saw the one in QST.
Yeah, it's
Oh, we
like
call
half
it-
the stuff in QST was. Oh yeah, what was that one? I read it.
If you can't hear them, don't, if you can't talk to them, don't hear them.
Yeah, so basically it said, you lower your signal to noise ratio by all but eliminating everything you hear, so then you can't.
Basically,
you
turn on your
lower the ratio.
attenuator.
Disconnect the antenna.
I call it the audio gate.
Yeah, it was-
That
it was
works every
pretty
time. We
strange,
turn it
yeah.
off, that really works.
That was quite a
Okay.
bogus story.
Yeah.
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 Well, I started out playing with radios and burning up things in the garage. It's amazing I didn't burn it down
Yeah.
in grammar school, and it's like, I used to get D's and F's in everything except science. I'd get an A. And then I'd bring in wire
I
and
like the
string up light
concept.
bulbs and I used to string up, this is grammar school.
You didn't know about resonance.
Grammar school, I started out with strings, putting them up, like, I'd go and watch the phone guys working on the poles,
Mhm.
normal kids play basketball and so forth, and I'd go, do stuff like that. And then I started putting strings up in the backyard, and then my dad was working for the railroad, and they were decommissioning a lot of buildings about that time in the 60s. And he'd bring home some of that
Wow.
50 pair, 22 gauge wire that I'd strip out and
Oh,
have
yeah.
all this wire to deal with. And I had wires going in the backyard with
You were
string
the
lights
wireman.
hanging off of it and everything. I actually had a storage battery that I'd charge up, and somebody gave me an old car radio. I'd play it by charging up the battery. Old 6-volt battery with a little light bulb rectifier in it
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And
But you didn't know anything yet.
not much.
You didn't read
And
any
there
of
was a surplus electronics store.
Oh, they were everywhere.
There
Oh,
was
I love
about-
those.
Yeah.
This is about
They were-
5 blocks away or so in Richmond,
Richmond.
California.
Now,
Yeah.
can I ask you a question at this point?
Sure.
Did you ever get into a place called Standard Surplus in San Francisco?
No,
I've heard of it, never been.
I didn't get around too much. But anyway,
Well, yeah, that's coming, that's gonna happen.
So this was called, what was it called? Westco, I think.
Oh,
And I actually worked there for $1 an hour in merchandise. So I vacuum tubes and all kinds, some of the stuff I still have, World War II vintage stuff.
what's on crypto? I'll give you some.
Transformers and stuff, I all home on my bicycle. And they had, the guy that owned that also owned a TV shop, Struthers TV in Richmond there. And they had some, like 15 cents you get a TV chassis, all kinds of resistors and capacitors in it. And the guy got tired. I used to hang out there all the time. Must have drove him nuts.
Were your grades improving all this while?
No, not for a few years. Not till I actually started, got in shop class in 7th grade. And then, okay, I excelled in that. And then later in electronics class, I got to high school. But I didn't really care about, I hated school until it had something to do with electronics.
Yeah, kind of like me in a lot of ways.
So these TV chassis, they were like, I don't know, 25 cents each or something. And the guy got tired of looking at them, I guess, and gave me a volume deal on them.
Take a whole.
I bought like 13 of them.
You need a lot of bicycles to get
Well,
those home.
By that time, yeah.
I was having a couple other guys haul one at a time home. I lived about, I don't know, 5 blocks away or so.
They were Dave.
And then my dad saw me doing it. What are you doing, you know? Well, I got all these chassis. So he finally drove over and brought the rest of them home for me. And I still got some of those. And that's when I learned the color code, resistor color code. And organized them all in a little drawer cabinet there. And I still got those resistors. Some are a little off target now, but I still use them from time to time.
They're never off.
Parallel and series them, and you know.
What's with this gold tolerance?
And
anyway?
yeah,
Right.
And let's see, my parents got me the VTVM.
Heathkit V7A?
Yeah.
No, it's
Eichel?
I-10.
I-10, that was a
IM10.
later.
Oh, the
I
IM
still have it.
Yeah. Yep.
I had a V7A.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, my dad and I built that. Messed it up. I had to send it in and get it fixed.
You
but
burn the
anyway.
meter up?
I think I did too.
No, I didn't burn the meter up.
I think Heathkit was one of the biggest gifts to any of us.
Oh, yeah.
So that was
That
my
was great
big gift
stuff.
from the parent. That was $40 in those days.
What kind of starter did you use on it?
They were good.
We weren't poor, we ate normal and everything, but by today's standards, they'd call us the working poor, but we never missed a meal, you know? Anyway,
Well, yeah.
so we didn't have a ton of money, you know, so that's
No.
why I had like a homebrew rig, finally when I learned CW and got the license, a homebrew 807, 6AG7,
Wow, 807 for me.
807, 6AG7 driver.
Yep.
And the receiver was an old chrome plated Scott receiver somebody gave me. It was about this big. And then somebody came over. My dad was not a ham, didn't know anything about electronics, but he knew guys at the railroad, you know,
Yeah.
and some of them were hams.
Yeah.
And one guy came over and showed me how to get a BFO going in that thing so I could hear sideband and CW. And then I built a little converter for it to get more band spread for 40 meters. And then I had maybe a half a dozen crystals, but the ones I found surplus, they were all 7100. The novice band was, of course, 7100,
Yeah.
7150 to 7200 back then.
Right.
So there, a whole pile of 7150s. So I had to grind them down.
Yep.
You know, take them apart, ground them down with some
Yeah, they go-
dynamic cleanser and a piece of glass.
Yep.
Yep.
And then my friend across town had an NC300. So I would call him. In the meantime, I had a 25 kc marker generator. So I could tell that I was in band, and I knew it had to be up from 7200.
Right.
So then I'd call him up and I'd put out a signal. He'd tell me what it was, and I'd mark them with my Dymo label machine.
Yep.
Another high-tech device there.
That was pretty
Oh, yeah,
cool.
I've
Actually, I still have it.
got one of those.
I
Yeah.
don't get rid of
I don't
things
have
too
any
much.
tapes.
You can actually buy it. I bought some a few years ago.
Did you ever see one of those Jan crystals where somebody drilled and tapped a little hole through the aluminum plate,
So you can put
and
the
so that
thumb
you
wheel.
can squeeze the crystal and to change the frequency.
Never
with
saw
a little
that
knob
trick,
on it.
I've seen it,
It
yeah.
was in QSD.
Yeah.
Hits and kinks.
That's what that
Was
was,
Yeah,
okay,
variable crystal.
yeah.
How much variation did you get there?
Oh, I don't know, a few kilo.
Probably not a lot.
That much.
KC?
I never tried it.
No,
but
it
I
was
remember reading
kilocycles
about
in
it.
those days, you know.
Yeah.
Well-
Kilocycle.
You can't say kilohertz if you're talking about the
Sorry.
60s.
Sorry. KC, yeah.
Yeah,
Heimlich Hertz didn't exist in those days.
No, I think it was the late 60s it changed over. I remember there was quite a flap over that.
oh,
None of
yeah.
us like too much change, you know.
Well, the big change didn't come to about 72 or so, and he moved the band upwards.
Yeah, that's when yeah.
It
Well,
used
see, I
to be,
got out of the army in late 71, got married in 73, and then kind of lost ham radio, took a back seat. So that's my shack on the other side of the wall there. And same house we moved into after I got married in 73. So then somewhere along the line, my son brought home this double oven that he got from work for free. So we had to put in, well, where were we gonna put it? I didn't use that room anyway, so I just cut a hole in there. Then when I went back to using it, you know, I'm kind of short some real estate here. I lost 3 feet of the shack, you know. So I had to expand it out the other way. And now I think I'm actually gonna get a hex beam. Never had a beam before, I always had wire antennas.
I'm looking for one of those used, but the price of the new ones is incredible.
Yeah, you can build them, but anyway, somebody's given me they call it a tower, I call it a mast, because you need a permit for a tower, so it's a mast, if you catch my drift.
Very tall,
How tall?
birdhouse holder.
It's
they're the different.
40 feet extended.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Well,
gonna
it's
put it
not
on the end of the house over there.
yeah. Talk a man.
And I have some hard line long enough to go from one end of the house to the other. That is
Sure,
left over from
You could always put a
my
little
cell site
birdhouse
days.
on the top of it.
Well,
Yeah,
part of the blessing for putting it up is I gotta put the
2 meters.
wife's radio weather station on there.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
So that's what it's really for.
It's
But
a
since,
weather station.
but since it's gonna go up there, I'm gonna put an antenna on it.
No, the
Right.
antenna is the clothes dryer, right?
Yeah, close
Yeah, that's
line.
right, before
Hex
code
beam.
It's gonna be a little high for the,
And you have to move it to get.
Well, you know, you can make a little elevator for it or something. Yeah,
and I'll maybe get my loop up a little higher that way too, because right
Yeah.
now it's not
Yeah,
as
yeah, I
high,
can-
so it'll be
Yeah.
higher on one end anyway.
mm,
So it'll be a little lopsided, but no antenna is
oh,
perfect.
well.
It works, so. Out of the olive trees, which aren't that high, you know, so that's why it's not very high.
You still have the inverted L for 160, right?
Yeah, with the full
does.
counterpoise.
Have you thought about helium balloon? I heard somebody around.
Thought about what?
A balloon.
I
The darn thing's burst.
think it's shot down too.
I think so.
With it, yeah, never mind. We're not
No,
gonna go
drone,
there.
if you go up every 30 minutes, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yours popped, didn't it?
You could put a quarter-wave vertical for 160, you know, oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
I've thought about that.
120 feet.
I have thought about that. That worked for mobile too.
That's
Well,
why I put mobile antenna.
I finally went mobile CW too, while Billy drives on road trips and
He does
You
that.
know,
Town Brass.
There was a fellow over in Napa, active ham radio guy. He bought one of these little Mercedes smart cars.
Oh,
You know, they're actually
Is that who made
plastic,
those things?
they're actually a plastic car.
Is
A
that who
plastic
made
car,
those?
And
yeah.
he put an HF rig in this
No
little
bank.
smart car, and he had, you know, the mobile antenna out the back with a big bird cage, and he couldn't figure out why it wouldn't work.
oh, that's easy.
And I said, well, I know how to solve it for you. I think his name is Dave. This is really simple. Get yourself a 70-foot trailer.
For a counterpoise, right?
Drag it by.
Or you can get yourself a 70-foot chain.
Yeah.
But he couldn't figure out why it wouldn't work.
Yeah, no counterpoise, huh?
Well, he lost half his antenna.
Yeah.
That's the bottom.
Yeah, I had that trouble too. I would put what started out was I got a secondhand screwdriver. Never buy a secondhand screwdriver. There's a reason why people get rid of them. Anyway, messed around with that for way too long. Went on a couple trips, thought I had it dialed in, and then it kept going on. You get it tuned in, and then it goes south right away. Turned out the wiper arm in the middle there was messed up.
That's a common issue.
But it's one of those things that took it apart and it kind of fell apart, and I finally walked over the garbage can and threw it in the garbage can and got ham sticks. True, you got to train, but they work. But in the
Nothing like
meantime,
simplicity,
I
right?
thought it was, well, I mounted it on a trailer hitch. I put a trailer hitch on the car. It's a little car, but it's one of those little wimpy trailer hitches. They're made for like a bicycle rack or something. So that's what I mounted the screwdriver on. So, I thought, well, it doesn't have a solid ground on there. So I ran a wire on it, and then it, intermittent. And I thought, well, okay, I have a wire on there, but RF wise, you still got that receiver hitch that slides into the thing, and it's not a solid connection on there. So I drilled it and tapped it on the trip. Bought a drill and drilled it in the tap and tapped it, put a bolt in there. And it still didn't do it.
Yeah.
So finally gave up on the screwdriver. Ham stick's the way to go. So I got, for the different bands, don't need to change bands that often. You can pretty well guess that 80 and 40 meters aren't going to be too hot in the daytime. But I actually checked into the net with it, coming down on I-5.
Oh, yeah, you were doing too
Between
bad.
Seattle and Oregon border down there. And from Fort Bragg, I've used it. And, so it actually works. Yeah, it's probably 2 watts effective power by the time it comes out. But CW helps,
It worked, yeah.
So, it works, and I enjoy it. Got a
I think you went
706
from Arizona with it once, then we were at a different, yeah.
extender cable, put the head in the front and the radios in the trunk. So I finally got that, but I learned a lot doing that. Main thing I learned, never buy a secondhand screwdriver.
No.
It just.
You're gonna buy one, get a Scorpion. They're probably the best
Yeah,
ones out.
I'm done with it.
They're
I'm done with it. Ham sticks.
And never
Put 40
ever
meters
buy
on
a
there, 40
secondhand.
meter works.
Never ever buy
What
a
was that, Dawson?
secondhand Harbor Freight screwdriver.
Yeah, well, anyway, screwdriver antenna. Yeah, it's a great idea, but too many things to go wrong with it.
There's a little article on YouTube about the guy using a vertical and using a screen, window screen as the ground plane for it.
Sure.
Yeah. But
As long as it's not
hard to
plastic.
do that.
Oh,
hard
that's
to do that mobile.
That's the other thing I was gonna say. These. Well, I call it a modern car. It's an 05. Most people would call it an old car. Okay, but
Yeah.
to me, an old car is like 1940s. Okay, that'd be an old
That's an old
car.
car.
That's just me anyway. But these modern cars, you think you're hooking on to solid ground, and then you look further, and it's a metal tab that's epoxy to a piece of plastic that the other end is epoxy to the metal, and
Just like using the pipes, right, for grounding.
no more.
No.
National Electric Code gave up on that years ago,
No.
for that reason, too much plastic in there.
Too much plastic, yeah.
But anyway, it's hard to get a decent ground. That's what I thought you were gonna, well, that's what you're alluding to on the guy with the smart car, the whole thing is plastic, so where's the counterpoise? Yeah. You gotta run a wire around it or something. Or drag a helium balloon or
And
something.
the other problem is all the RF getting into the auto.
Watch those overhead bridges, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I learned a little bit about doing HF mobile.
I still think you needed a 60-foot trailer.
That would help, but
That would help.
I'm too old for trailers. I've
Too
given
old
up
for
on
that now,
trailers.
Yeah.
The last trailer I had threw me on the ground and rolled me down the hill on
It's
it.
10 foot longer than my 50-foot tower, and it just happens to be horizontal.
Yeah, there you
Take
go.
that with
There
you.
you go.
Yeah.
What about Chris?
Yeah.
Oh, what's he doing? No, he never started. He just, well, like a lot of you guys, just started out back in Nebraska one time, playing around with this radio these guys had, a console thing. I heard the shortwave on it, and I heard these guys talking, it was AM. And I said, I don't know what that is. And I heard the Loran signal and all these foreign stations.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all over the
In the
place.
Bay Area, that was big, yeah.
Oh, it was nasty. And I heard the Loran above 160.
Did it sound that way here too?
Yeah.
I know it's
get
in
over
the Bay
here.
Area.
It was nasty.
Yeah. It's like, what can you do with that band?
Horrible.
Yep.
So then I got a transoceanic in 1963.
Zenith.
Yeah. Yep. Right. It was built in '59, so it was a pretty good unit. And I heard AM. I heard the guy talking, and I said, "Wow, man, this is." And I was reading through the encyclopedia one day, and reading about ham radio, or they call it amateur radio, and I said, "Wow, it's all this licensing stuff, and, how do I get that?" So time went on. I forgot about it. Kept listening. Then I started hearing local ham, about my age, maybe 16, 17. They're a little older than me, talking on AM on 75. And I said,
Why
wow,
not?
that's pretty
Thank
cool.
you.
Where do I learn this code stuff? So
Take one.
I went to Reading
Thank
one
you.
day.
Ready?
Reading, yeah, we went to take a dog up to, we had a dog that was hunting dog. We were gonna take it for a friend of ours up there. So this kid had CB.
Thank you.
So, all right, what can you do with the CB? So we get on the CB and that's it.
I will not be shy.
Oh, man, it didn't really impress me very much at all. It really didn't. So I thought, I'm gonna really buckle down on this CW. So it was 1965, and I went down the street to a neighbor of mine who was a ham. And he said, okay, first thing you have to do is dit and da, not dot and dash, okay? So a guy named Loping, he had a lighting store downtown. I think it was Loping, I can't remember the name of the guy's name. Loping was his last name, I remember that. Loping, yeah. He had a lighting store. And my dad was in the lighting business at the time, salesman. So he said, here, take this home. There's a couple of records, Boy Scout records. Now, at the time, I was a drummer, sort of a drummer, as you say. I didn't have much of a drumming equipment, but I was a drummer anyway. We had a band called the Super Heterodynes.
You gotta be kidding.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So I'm the drummer, right? So I said, oh man, this CW is, they got like E-I-S-H. That sucks. I can't do it that way. I want A, B, C, D. So I sat down, me and my twin, we worked on this record for about 2 days, did all, make sure it was right, did all A, D, B and B, so forth, got all alphabetized. And then I remember summer school was over, so I go in the ranch wagon out in the garage, where it's nice and quiet. And I'm sitting there with a piece of paper, and I'm using my leg for a key. I didn't have a key. So I'm going like, did. And I'm doing those 5 letters a day. And then I begin to mix the letters up, made words. You can't do too much with 5 letters. Anyway, next day with J, J through, no, E through J, that's right, E through J, K through whatever. So by Saturday, I had all the letters down. And the numbers were easy, that was one day for that. So then I went down to the street where my ham friend was, and said, here's a BC 352 you can take home. Well, I couldn't lift it, so we had to bring it over. It was a beast. Took 2 minutes a boy to get it in. And it had a BFO in it. And I started hearing CW and sideband. I said, wow, this is really something else. So back then, there were a lot of co-practice, coastal stations on the air, KP8, KFS, WCC, the whole bit. So you hear all these loops going on 24 hours a day. And this receiver went from 3.5 to 4, no, 1.7 to 4 meg, 6 megs, that's what it was. And I listened to anything that was fine. DX pilots at the bottom of the band, I didn't care what it was. I just got my code. So my friend got a ticket, finally, a novice ticket, one of the guys I went to school with. So I listened to him on the air. And I called him and said, hey, you're screwing up. I wasn't even licensed yet. Said, you gotta do this over. You're screwing this all up. So he finally got it, but so then I began to really buckle down and learn the code. And so I remember the day, it was December 30th of 65. You guys remember Cal TV, California Radio TV?
Mhm.
Became Marvax later
Yeah,
Yeah,
on Del Paso.
right. Del
Yeah.
Paso and Arden.
Well, went down there
yeah.
and I'm looking around some parts. I didn't have anything, so I'm looking for some parts to be able to, like you're gonna do, a 6L6, right? And guy came over and said, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm looking around for some parts. I'm gonna do this. I said, here's what you need. If you build that 6L6, whatever it is, you're gonna have TBI, and your neighbor's gonna go crazy, banging on your door. But here's an ICO 723 kit,
753.
Wow.
not to pick at the sideband. 723 with a CW transmitter, 60 watt,
Wow.
6325. Yeah,
That's a forgotten name.
That was my first transmitter too.
yeah,
It's kind of a capacitor tester, it's ICO, they
Yeah.
still have.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Dial on the front.
ended up buying this kit for $60.
That was a lot of money.
That was a lot of
Oh,
money.
it was.
So my dad must have raked it up.
That was a big deal
That
back
was a
then.
big deal. I said, wow, man, I can't believe that.
So you're talking about sixties, huh?
Yeah, 1965.
Okay.
So my dad actually built it. He didn't know what he was doing, but he went by the pictures.
Yeah.
And this guy, Jerry, W6 PDQ, I think it was, PDT. Yeah, he came by and he looked it over, make sure his soldering was good. And the thing actually worked when we smoke tested it. So he made a tuning device for me. He made out of a 12AU7. It was probably a wide bridge oscillator or something like that. And it worked great. But okay, so I got that thing going. So finally, I took this electric class in high school, right? So the teacher said, okay, I'll give you the novice test. But there was only one problem. I only have one tape at 12 words a minute. So you better get your speed up because that's what it's gonna be.
For your novice test.
Yeah, you remember the spectrograph machine?
Baptism by fire.
And
Yeah.
he's never slowed down.
Yeah, so here we are.
He
So here we
started
are,
there,
me and
yeah.
my twin, we're going at it, and I'm sitting there with the typewriter going bang, 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 and banging this out, and, we got done. I got it like 100%, almost. And my brother, he barely got a minute. I think he didn't quite make it. So he never got his ticket. It's probably a good thing, but, you need two hands in the family.
One's in the family's enough, huh?
Yeah. So I passed the test. Then I had to wait 6 weeks for the actual test to come, the novice test. They finally showed up, took the test.
Now, wait a minute. You said the general test?
No, I meant the novice.
Right. Because in those days, you
The
could
general
have
later on,
done
that's another story.
conditional
Yeah.
if
that's
you
another
were
story.
more than 150 miles from.
Oh, no, I was
San
here in Sacramento.
He was 149 miles off.
Yeah, right.
Probably not quite far enough.
So the novice test came, took it, and then finally it said, okay, now we got the ICO built. So I got a receiver, an NC, what was it? 109, yeah. That guy, Jerry had a 109 he loaned me. And we found a receiver. So about 6 months later, he came back with an AQ 140. He got it at Comment. That was like $100 back then, I think it was. So that became my receiver. Anyway, finally got a vertical down at, Cal TV. I got this vertical. It was a 18, I can't remember the number, just a coil, a vertical with a coil on it. That's all it was. You had to tap it. I didn't know what
Was it
SWR
Gotham?
was. Do I get kind of dicky
Was it
around?
Gotham that had the cheap verticals?
I remember the Gotham,
I
yeah.
don't
Oh, man, I remember all the advertising that used to come. Oh, Gotham, and all these guys were sending all the catalogs and stuff. All that cheap stuff. Yeah, I remember that. So finally got on the air, and the guy, I worked with a guy in Washington. I forget his call. I lost him, and it was so nervous, it was really something else. And then, I started tinkering around with stuff. I didn't like the way it keyed, so I modified it to my liking. I only had one crystal. It was 7168. And unfortunately, at night, the VOA out of Liberia would come out and wipe everything out.
Broadcast station, gotta love them.
My crystal was for the radio speaking.
Yeah.
Radio
Wow.
King.
So somebody gave me this crystal for 71 something or other. I said, oh, I can do something with this. So I took it apart and I took a lead pencil and I, put some lead on it and put it back together and actually moved the frequency enough to get it away from the broadcast signal.
Brought it down, huh?
Yeah, I took it down. If you grind it, it goes the other way.
Right.
So anyway, so then I just started tinkering out and stuff. The time went by and, now the general class, that was a whole other story. It was Easter week, I remember, had some time off. I went down to the city a couple days ahead. And I go into the FCC office. I had an appointment with the engineer at 11 o'clock. I think it was 10 o'clock, can't remember. And so John was there that day.
Yeah.
But he saw this guy with a typewriter coming.
What in the Sam Hill's the guy doing with a typewriter at FCC office?
So,
You didn't think about anybody. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so, I'm going in there taking this test. And so here we go with the CW. And we go banging along. And I said, it's too much. This is too much noise. I'm just going to dictate it to you. So I ended up dictating it to her. It went along A, B, C, spade, blah, 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 spade. Okay, you passed. Can you send anything? Okay, send him a couple words. Okay, you passed. You read me the general test, got that. That was easy. And I was out of there. So I was all excited to get home. Took the Greyhound home and got in the shack, ready to fire up. And my twin, what he did, he was messing around with the transmitter when I was gone. No antenna hooked to it, flattened my final.
And then he says, it was Chris.
I would have killed him. Anyway, that was $5 for a new tube. $5.
Oh, man.
$5 was a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Serious money, yeah.
Trying to scrape that up.
It's when I came from Brazil and my first job was minimum wage at Sears, filling the envelope, $1.25 an hour. So yeah, it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
$5 was a lot of money.
Yep.
So I've done some home brewing. It's been a long time, but I'd like to get back in it again somehow. Because I've done some stuff with calibration. I kind of like calibrating, instrumentation. It's always interested me for some reason. I've always liked that. There's somebody that come up with a way to make the VNAs work, like with a laptop. So you can hook it up to it and see what's going on. What I want to do is come up with an audio representation. So when you're moving things around, you know what it's actually doing by pitch.
Well, now, what do you use to see the screen, so to speak, Chris?
Okay,
is it audio or is it Braille?
I can do both.
Okay, so there actually is the VNA, the program that you use.
Yeah, I haven't
should be able to use
VNA
that.
to it yet, but I got the program. So
Talking in audio, I would think. Does that work on just about any program?
it should, yeah.
Or is it just for email and stuff?
It'll work. Oh, it'll work. I do email on it.
It'll work on anything that's on the screen? Is that how it
sure.
works?
I do email with it. I do what do you call it? The spreadsheet,
Okay, well, that would work then.
Word documentation, all that stuff.
You could use a VNA.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think how you go about
Certain
that.
parts of it, yes. But
Well, it's hard for me to imagine how he does it either, but somehow I send him an email, he reads it. I don't.
I do have an auditory scope at home,
Yeah.
and it does X and the Y coordinates.
You can take a straight analog signal and very easily
Oh yeah.
provide a tone, a variant tone that
Do it all the
matches
time.
up with it. That's straightforward. But
Yeah.
with the network analyzers, it's all graphics.
Right. I'm aware of
And
that.
so I don't know how you go
There's
about
numbers on there though.
Well, yeah, but you have to know, I would think the software would have to be able to tell you where that number was on the
how the
graph.
graphic.
Well, I'll have to get the program, Phil, and we can hook it up and see what it does. I never actually played with it
Well,
yet.
I don't see how we're hooking it to anything.
Well, I know a guy who, he worked in the industry down in the Bay Area, and he had an old HP spectrum analyzer that he had rigged up with this auditory scope. And he was
Yes.
tuning filters with it.
Yes.
And just
But-
by listening to, you can tell how it was, the way it sounded one way or the other, whether the thing was equal or not, on both sides, the slope was right.
Right.
So that could be done easily. So, anyway, so far, it's not, the audio thing is great because there are two kinds of audio. There's no type device where you have a, like a Wheatstone bridge. That's when you want to get an accurate measurement on something. The other kind is, relative, where you have a pitch change, whether something is changing like you're working on a continuity tester. You want to know where the thing is a good connection or not. It'll tell you.
So you have high pitch
or-
for high
Yeah.
resistance and low pitch for
Yeah, or like on
low
a
resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I would think that if you wanted to do something with a network analyzer, you'd be much better with a tactile display.
That could be done. I think you're right. I agree with you.
I think the tactile thing would be the answer for you.
What is tactile?
You feel it. You're doing some stuff with maps and that type of thing.
Ah.
I haven't really
Well, it's
delved
Braille.
into
I mean,
it.
same-
Braille.
Yeah.
So it's a Braille graph.
It's exactly what it would be.
If you think about the screen with many pins, right, something
Yeah,
that you can
like
get
dot
a
matrix.
picture, yeah.
Dot matrix.
Pretty
Yeah.
much what it is.
Yeah.
I would think that would work pretty well
Huh.
for you.
I do too.
The sound thing, I'm hard pressed to figure out how you could tie that together.
Well, we had to use it.
You know,
Need
with
an A
with the
converter of
sound
some
thing,
kind.
you'd have to actually have
Multi-
two separate sources, much like a stereo thing.
Right, yeah.
Where you've got an X graph and a Y graph, and you'd have to somehow, you'd have to put that together in your mind, and I'm sure you're quite capable of that. But figuring out how to plot that's gonna be a challenge.
Yeah.
I think the tactile thing would be a better.
Oh, I agree. I mean, the tech would be great. There's some low cost ways to do it now than it used to be. The guy that's doing that in Florida, I haven't really kept up with it. And they probably need to do that. Do a little research on it. But
A quick, easier question for you, Chris. How fast can you get Morse code? What's your average speed?
do what now?
What's your average speed in Morse code?
Well, let me give you a hint about that. Is the only one I know that has an water cooled bug.
Yeah, water cool.
You know, with code, I have a tough time writing faster than about 15 words a minute.
Cursive.
Print.
Well, I don't write.
Cursive you could do faster.
Well,
That's what the guy that my elder said. I started out printing it. He said, it's not going to matter now, but when you get faster, don't print it.
You
Cursive
have
writing,
cursive,
you can do
right,
it
That's
faster.
right.
But
Like
now,
you said you don't write it down at all, right?
Well, I do.
Or it's-
Every time I write stuff down, I take traffic, when I'm gonna write down, I wanna remember, but otherwise I don't write it down, but,
It's all here.
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
No.
when it gets too fast to write, I have to do head code, and it forces me to do head code.
Well, I remember when I came back, like you're talking about, Neil, I went over to this guy's house, I haven't been on for a while, and I turned on the receiver and said, boy, this is CW, huh? Yeah, I know. Wow, okay. And I listened to it. It made pretty good sense. Well, I guess I better get on the air. So I get on the air, and I call CQ, and some guy answers me. And I say, okay, my name's Chris, blah, 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 blah. Okay, see you later, bye. Then my brain just didn't work, And then somebody called me that I knew. And all of a sudden, just like that, everything started coming back. Like I never lost it. It was really weird. It was a weird experience.
It's kind of interesting because it's just.
And I ran into LQ that way one time. He figured out who I was. I don't know how he did, but he did. Probably because of my fist or my, it was like 20 years later.
Wow.
And he had a different call. I didn't know who he was. He didn't know who I was, but it didn't take long to figure it out, I don't think. That was what, 87? Anyway.
Most everybody says that they don't hear individual letters, they hear
I hear-
words. But I still hear individual letters. I don't know about
But
anybody else.
it's just like learning a language. You don't speak in letters, you speak in words, right?
Speaking word.
You
Yeah,
capture the
There was one
words.
guy,
that's what everybody says, but for some reason I still hear the
if-
letters.
If you stop and think about it, how do you read visually?
yeah.
I've always been a
Visually,
slow reader,
you
that
know,
might be why.
when you're learning how to read, the first thing you learn how to do is to sound out the word.
Right, phonics, yeah.
Right, you do
That's how I
the
learned it.
phonic thing, and then as you're familiar with that, then all of a sudden you're taking in the word at a time, which is the
Mhm.
same thing that's gonna happen with CW. You
Right.
know, it's, you're visually dealing with an individual letter, and then once it's all put together, you still don't know the word, by the way,
No,
until you come back and look what you had written down.
No, I do it as I go along. I don't have to go
Not
back
not
and
when you
look at it.
started, though.
Oh, when it started?
the real
Yeah.
trick is, when you really learn this stuff, is when you're going along and you make a mistake, to change the word right in the middle of it, into something else. And nobody knows you made a mistake, yeah.
Well,
You know, the analogy to reading is a good one, because when you're teaching a child to read,
Yeah.
he gets sight words that they have to memorize, and they know them on sight. You don't have to sound them out. It's just
Right,
sight words.
but-
That's how you use the word read.
But the analogy to CW is very similar. Is that there's words that you know by sound,
Yes.
the word by sound instantly.
And as the word begins, you got a pretty good idea where it's going.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you're anticipating where you get in trouble.
You
got
is
plenty of
when
time
you
to think about
anticipate
it, yeah.
wrong.
yeah.
So
And I
I
found-
found the same issue. I think you mentioned about having the code come back, and I've got, with the letters I know, I know the letters all, it's fine. But putting them together is harder now at my age than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just like trying
It's
to,
just not gluing together like
trying to
it was.
listen to a foreign language.
Sure.
Sometimes even
I
if
get
you
that.
catch the words, by the time you mentally translate, the subject has changed.
Yep.
The same-
exactly.
Oh, yeah, well,
So it's coming back slowly. I've been listening to the Tuesday night nets. It's coming.
I think we go around 15 to, what do we go, around 15
Well, it depends on
words?
who's saying.
Huh?
Chris is about 20, but it's.
Well, I'm talking about what I do. I think
know.
I think
Yeah.
it's around 15.
You're about 15 now.
well, back in the
'Cause I use
70s,
a straight key, so I don't have anything telling me.
yeah, well, back in the
What's good?
70s, I was doing, 50, 60 back in those days with a bunch of guys that did that stuff. And boy, everything went by so quick, you had to learn to think fast on your feet.
Yeah.
And that
You
probably
know,
helped me a
this
lot.
guy Bud Drummond of Buddy Pole,
And they all died out now.
he W6FF, is that right?
SM,
No,
Sierra Mike?
no, W3.
Mm,
I think that's what it is. He's a 50, 60 word a minute guy.
yeah, old Navy guy, I bet.
No, he was
I can't
never in
talk
the
that
Navy.
fast.
His dad was a ham, and Bud just kind of caught on as a young guy, and
Ah.
he just kept going with it. He's a really interesting guy.
Yeah, well, it's nice.
That's pretty quick, 50, 60 words a
That's-
minute.
that's
Definitely
good.
admire your skill, Mr. Chris.
That's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I learned it, there was a guy,
I always jokingly say,
yeah,
you know how some people, maybe their first language is Spanish,
yeah,
so when you're talking to them, they have to translate the Spanish to figure something out and then
yeah,
translate it to English in their mind. Well, with Chris, his first language is Morse.
What's going on?
English is his second
Second
language.
you
Right,
may be
Chris?
right, John. But, I was talking to somebody about that the other day. This lady friend of mine, she's very fluent in Spanish. And I asked her about this. I said, do you think in Spanish and English? It all depends who I'm talking to, And what do you dream in? Well, I dream in English.
Seriously.
Interesting.
And I can't guarantee you that that's the case. Because
Yeah.
I have Portuguese and Spanish, and English is my bottom line language now.
Yeah.
Even though I was born in different.
So would you
when-
have trouble carrying on a conversation in Spanish or Portuguese now?
I can,
You
the
still
only
do it?
problem I have is that sometimes I put all three languages together.
In
Yeah.
Europe, when you talk to people over there, it's very common for those people to speak 4, 5, 6 languages.
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh,
they're,
yeah.
they're close.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the education system deals with that. But I
Well, they do 6
suspect
days
it's
a week, I know that.
multilingual in the formal
Evidently.
education.
Yeah, at least 2 or 3 languages.
It's different. It's different.
Okay.
I speak Portuguese with
Yeah.
my family, okay? But I used to work in Mexico and to have to learn the northern Mexican, not the Spanish. And
Yeah, it's different,
so,
huh? There's a couple different.
Yeah.
So like going to Puerto Rico,
Mhm.
it was very difficult different. I had.
Is it basically Spanish in Puerto Rico, but
No,
but
it's just
different, huh?
like British and Texan, you know, the same language, same
Ah.
grammar, but.
Is it sort of like Spanglish?
No,
I'm aware of Spanglish. Yeah, it's a lot of
Well, you know.
Americanisms. Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing I asked her was about, what about the Spanish you hear on the radio, which all sounds the same to me. It says, oh, a lot of that is stuff is slang. So, you know, who knows?
Yeah.
Too funny.
Okay, well, we never got the minutes from last,
We didn't have any meeting.
we didn't have
well,
any meeting. Yeah, we did, but yeah, close enough.
Let me tell you,
got the-
I got them written here
And
someplace.
treasury report, not gonna let you off there.
Oh, that's where Phil comes in.
Okay,
As
we just
usual.
started off on something else instead of going down the list, but who cares? It's all the same.
Yeah,
I don't mind your rabbit trails.
well, I'll tell you
we
this
still-
much.
Rabbits.
Let's see if I can find anything on this here. I wrote some stuff down
And I still
here.
got the 150 and 25 years ago, I got an article, extended
Oh,
article on that.
Didn't we just do all that?
No, we do
last
it every
month.
month.
No, we're talking about us.
No, we didn't do it yet.
150 cent, well, we did the 50 and the 25.
Guaranteed.
That we did, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you did go over.
Some of the
Oh, here in a
QSC
minute, John.
magazine
Yeah, you went over
covers
the
are
keyword.
coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it.
go, oh, I've seen that one.
Remember Jeeves?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Trotsky? Was it Trotsky?
Okay, minutes now.
Who was
Okay,
the
let's
other-
see here. How many people to check in here? I wrote something down here.
We got 12, last month.
Yeah, we had 12 last month. We had a
Did
show
we?
and tell. You talked about your vertical background and power. Yeah, okay. Did we have a show and tell last week?
Yeah, we had
Yeah, his
we had the-
trophy. Yeah, sure.
we had the bogus
Michael showed us his little
contest.
Trophy. And he had a
Somebody won
160
that. I
meter,
can't
he had a
remember the
160
guy,
meter
but-
vertical and a battery backup thing on the trophy.
Yeah.
And the bogus story, we had 6 people. Yeah. And they were W6KN, K6LQ, K7SF, N6KIX, and WB6UBK. If I remember right, what's his name? KN, come on. Kevin, here we go. He talked about getting run over by his mom, almost.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, almost. Mike talked about the real truth about what caused the San Francisco earthquake in '06. K7SF talked about, I forgot, one of the FTC or
That's
something in
who's not here
Portland.
tonight.
And Rob talked about the FTC in Chicago. That was pretty weird. I forgot what your story was, John. Forgot about
It
it.
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Wasn't
Some
that
guy,
good.
AI6U, talked about the new polite CW, upper and lower case
Upper
CW.
lowercase, see that, and you're
With
still waiting
demonstration.
for approval on that from
Yeah.
SEC, yeah.
And some guy named AI6U won the trophy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's pretty much the minutes of last month. Yeah, only reminder to register. Oh, yeah, he's doing that. The Dennis is with the registration for the state. He's working on that, so good job. And let's see, what else can I tell you? That's it.
Well done.
Yes.
I have a long-winded report, but there you are.
Okay.
That I can keep.
Treasury report.
Ooh, big bucks.
Okay, in the month of March, our treasury was at $8,786.94. There was no activity in the month of April.
Mm.
That's right.
What's that number
And
again?
I'm sorry,
87 what?
86.9, oh no.
Ooh.
I'm lying to you.
Yeah.
It's 8831.94. That's where we started the month of April.
Ah.
8831.94. And again, there's been no activity with the Treasury during the month of April. And of course, nothing so far in the month of May.
We got that one that's not, well, like you said, when
When
I
you're ready to
transfer it, then it
transfer.
becomes official on your.
I was thinking about that. One of the things I always used to do is, this time of year, there's not a lot of activity. But if I got a transaction during any month, I waited till the very end of the month and I did a transfer. So that the money, no matter what month they came in, even if there's hardly anything going on, I get them into the treasury that month.
Okay.
You know, typically you want 3 or 4 or 5, so you didn't have a bunch of little
Yeah,
nonsense going on.
January, February.
How many members now?
We're about to go there. So we have one brand new member,
Woo,
a gentleman by the name of Rob Santello,
I know that guy.
K6DQ,
Hey,
who
Rob.
just joined.
Oh,
And
He's
with,
actually an old member.
he's an old member.
oh, is he?
Yeah.
Well, he just sent in some
He just
money, so he's now back in good graces.
Right.
Oh,
Would he be a
okay.
likely candidate for the bug roundup?
I have no idea. Probably.
If somebody could send me his email address, I'd love to send him an invite.
Sorry
for the diversion.
I'll take care of that. I'll send you the full roster.
Awesome.
So at this point, we're sitting at 52 members.
Woo, boy,
Yeah.
yeah, big
No,
jump.
actually,
That's
this is an active club. And, you know, the thing that I'm impressed with this club is that the people that participate really do participate.
Yeah, that's,
Oh, we do, yeah. somewhere.
It's
it's been
refreshing to
good.
see.
It's been good.
So, Bob, I'll send that to you.
I'd like to see more people on Zoom, if not, well, it'd be great if everybody was in person, but obviously there's people
That's what I
too
like.
far away for that.
Right.
And I'd like to see more people on Zoom. But
Well-
anyway,
By the way, what this is, I don't know, most of you probably picked up on it.
that's right. Well, you talked about it before. Some of the people
QRP
were-
Labs builds all kinds of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
This is a VFO that they produce. And I've been playing around designing this little single conversion HF receiver from AM band up through 10 meters as a project for the DIY group. Needed a VFO, and I saw this, I thought, this is pretty good. And the beauty of this thing is, it's got two outputs. One output, you can take the IF frequency and have it additive or subtractive from the receive frequency. So you can have up conversion, down conversion. The other channel is your IF frequency.
Yeah.
So you just program it to do what you need to do. So I bought a second to build this little generator because I'm always piddling around with something.
Yeah.
You know, you're looking at $30.
Is it a
Wow.
DDS VFO?
I'm sorry?
A DDS type or what?
It's a digital VFO
Okay.
based upon that little SI 5351 chip
What's the frequency range it puts out?
from 3.5 through 220.
Wow.
So.
Oh, well, yeah, you can get down to one, you can do anything, yeah,
Well, you
Oh, you
can't get
mix
to
it, yeah.
160.
sure.
3.5 is the low end of it.
Is
But
it
I-
sine wave output or a square wave?
Oh, it's square wave.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, that doesn't cause any grief. The other thing about this is it's designed to work with GPS. It's got a GPS feature output. And he also,
GPS output.
GPS lock.
yeah,
So
that locks on
frequency.
GPS.
And what does that do for you?
Well, you can hold it. What
He's
is
got
the idea?
several different rigs that do GPS thing, and the other one that he does is whisper with the same VFO.
So what does the GPS lock do?
You can lock the accuracy of your frequency down to 1 hertz,
That's what it does.
and it won't move. It'll
Yeah.
stay.
It won't move, no.
It
So what's the
links to-
idea?
it-
You want
it
to,
locks to the GPS system.
It's a pretty sophisticated little
Okay.
$30 piece. It's
Sure.
pretty remarkable, actually.
that's amazing.
So if you're doing a whisper or something like that where 1 hertz matters.
I think we could make, use that with some rocketry and take out some of the jammers that are out there.
How about
Yeah.
take out?
We can certainly get a
Anyway.
balloon.
That's my
Yeah.
Have a
story.
little pair of wire cutters and go
Yeah.
skip their coax.
Dennis, we need to chat about your
No, you
antenna.
need, what
We
you
have
need
about
is a
that.
needle where you put it through the coax.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll get your phone number.
Make that easy.
So Dennis, how did you get into this madness?
No time like now.
You haven't heard this story yet, have we?
Yeah, that's right. We didn't hear Dennis's story.
Oh,
Yeah.
Pass that on down.
How'd you get into ham radio?
well, my dad worked at County Communications, Center in Santa Clara County. He was a dispatcher
Uh-huh.
for that. And they also, at the same building that he worked in, they did all the installations and servicing. up there for the police radios and transmitters and receivers all around the county. And he'd always take me up there with him and get us checked and on off days. So I would live to go up there and see all the shops, all this stuff. Big Motorola rack transmitters and the receiver building on the other side of the hill was
And it's filled with magic.
magic tubes. And so that was part of it. The other part was a guy across the street, Mastakata, his name was, and W6SFM. And he had a tower and a Mosley T-33 on top of it.
Correct. Yep.
He being Japanese, he loved to chat with his buddies in Japan.
Japan,
Yeah.
And so we would see him chat with his buddies in Japan on our television all the time. So that was part of it. He invited me over one afternoon and he showed me his Collins rig and his spare rig.
Ooh, a wealthy man.
Nice stuff.
He
Yeah.
worked for IBM, IBM engineer. And so about age 14 or so, friends in the neighborhood and I got into CB radio. So yes, I'm confessing my.
We've all done things in our youth we're not
CB
proud
radio
of.
was my gateway drug.
Yeah, right.
For amateur radio. But none of the other guys were interested in going ham radio, and I still had that into it.
Mhm.
And so one of the guys at work, my dad's work, had an MC300 receiver. And my dad bought it for me for Christmas one.
Wow,
Wow.
So yeah, that
that's great.
was special. So about at 16, I took a code class, a novice class, put on by the Santa Clara County radio at the time, and I passed my test. I got licensed at 16. W6SFM. And long story, a little shorter. I had that license till I was a 2-year novice at the time, and you could renew it once.
Yeah,
At that
oh,
time.
okay, at that time.
Do one renewal, and then you're gone. So at 18, I had actually begun to live my life, and ham radio kind of drifted off.
Yeah, I know that happened.
Other things come along, yeah.
So it went dormant till I went back to college in '83 at about 22 or 23 years of age at Cal Poly. And at Cal Poly, I got into the club and got a few Elmers, and I went to Long Beach FCC. And first I took a novice test by mail, that's right. KB6AWO was my novice call. And I played with that, had a great time while I was going to school. And then I decided I was ready to upgrade. And I went down to the Long Beach FCC office with my wife and her dad, and took a test in front of the FCC and got the general, 13 word code, and then I passed the advanced theory at the same time. So I got my advanced license at that point. And came up here, upgraded my call sign when I got a job up here, and kind of been sliding around for a while, half active, half not. And when I finally the last 10 years or so, I've been kind of trying to get back up into the active operating.
Interesting thing,
So that's the short
having an advanced class as well. If you remember
Yeah.
correctly,
Yeah,
the
well,
advanced technical was the same as the extra. The only difference was the 20 words a minute.
yeah.
So when
Yeah,
you eliminated the Morse code, there's no reason why they
Yeah.
could not.
Like the
equate
tech
the
and the
two.
general, yeah.
Yeah.
I ended up getting the extra about 4 or 5 years ago, I think. I don't do that, but that was
Okay,
post code.
Yeah.
all right, well,
Well,
the only thing we got left here on the list is the 100 and the 50 and the 25 years ago.
oh.
So, 1923.
Do you remember that, Bob?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I
Here,
have you.
I know your mom does.
We had a 22 Dodge.
You got more show and tell there?
No, it's.
Oh, you're
gonna
just
follow
getting
your
up to it,
USC.
Okay.
Read them all.
Just got this in the mail today.
Ah,
So it says the main guy shows a guy leaning against a guy wire holding up a mast is being painted and planted in the ground.
Ooh,
And
didn't have to worry about power lines back then.
one BHW shares a brief summary of outcome of the second National Radio Conference.
Mm.
And here's one for Phil. You can't determine the power output of a transmitter effectively unless you know the total antenna resistance.
Mm. How do you
Which
find-
seriously, in 1923,
That was pretty
that
remarkable.
was some heavy duty
was.
thinking, yes.
There-
I mean, the instrumentation they didn't have, and
RPM meter.
yeah,
Yeah, you
how
know,
to measure antenna resistance and capacity. Is that
They
article?
did that.
wow.
I don't know, but I downloaded the whole QST for May 1923, and I'll read a part of that in a minute. And he shows some humor on the perfect antenna.
Too bad you had the EV.
And here's one. Because no one seems to know which insulators were good for CW work, Mr. Young, 1QPHF, and a couple other guys conduct some tests for their findings on the best insulators. And then my favorite one is, with CW being available and efficient, the spark must eventually go.
Thank God.
That's 100 years ago?
Yes,
That- okay.
100 years
100
ago.
years ago, yeah,
1923.
yep.
Okay, and the lead editorial debates this topic, and that's what I got printed up here. So, that's when they had the American Radio Relay League, which is, you know, I used to wonder what that meant. Well, they used to relay from one station to the next,
That's right.
because they weren't that good. DX might be from San Francisco to Bakersfield, or Sacramento might be big time DX.
Yeah.
And only about 4% of the traffic is going on Spark these days. Big advances there. In Montana, the spring QRN, so I guess it was power line noise because there wasn't any grow lights then. So I guess it was atmospheric noise and power line noise.
Yeah.
Probably was a ton of that. Transformers and insulators probably weren't too well perfected, I don't know. I wasn't around then, believe it or not.
They probably had 2 power lines in the entire state.
Electric.
Yeah, probably right.
fences.
Okay, so they had, so the QRN has made inroads into the message trafficking. In this state, several freak operating conditions are found. Perhaps the queerest, they say, is the station who worked much longer distance with ease and utterly unable to work other Montana stations.
No, no, why?
Well, they didn't understand propagation then.
Right.
So if you don't know anything about propagation, that's really weird. You know, you hear people say that now, you know,
Right.
that don't know anything about propagation. You know, why can't I get, 100 miles away, but I can get
Yeah, the
1,000 miles
sunspot
away?
cycle and all that business, yeah.
So, yeah.
You
they
know,
didn't- they
I
didn't know
would
anything.
wonder if the Aurora was an issue in Montana.
Could be too. That could be the QRN.
I mean,
they talk about,
lightning static, you know.
they talk about the, where was it? The spring QRN.
Yeah, that'd be the next.
So apparently every spring they had more QRN.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, thunderstorms.
you know, the
And it wasn't
80
grow
minute
lights.
thunderstorm, exactly, that's what it is.
They were on 200 meters back then, weren't they? Or lower, yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
They've been thunderstorm forever, so, there's only 8 meters, I started getting noisy about this time of year.
So,
Hasn't happened yet, though.
so the spark gap was slowly going out of style.
Oh, yeah.
And they said perhaps the strangest thing is the station we just talked about. Can't work in state, but you work out of state. What's up with that? Yeah.
They didn't figure out NVIS.
that
Right.
too.
Didn't know
But
that
they
yet.
probably don't think they knew about the ionosphere either.
Yeah, I think they probably did.
So, well, they were just figuring it out, but they said, isn't this weird that you can, and of course they didn't have that many different frequencies.
Yeah.
Like you say, it was
No,
all.
no, no.
Well, again, it's fairly low band.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they were
Yeah.
sharing in the broadcast band back then, you know.
So it says during the past month, we attempted to get a daytime route over state, and various stations were required on Sunday afternoon from 3 p.m. on, and they called Montana stations, and the results were absolutely nil. All station 7ZL was found impossible to raise over Montana stations in the daytime, while coastal stations and those in Kansas were worked with ease. Well, the skip was longer than they anticipated.
It's probably on, what band were they on? Probably 20 meters.
No, I don't
No,
know.
I don't know.
no.
Three, not up.
No, more like 200 meters, like Carol was saying.
On
Yeah,
the daytime?
It's
Oh,
HF.
you're right. Yeah, 200 meters. You're correct. Yeah.
Okay, big news flash here. Montana is now 100% CW,
Woohoo!
with the exceptions
They got
of
it
one
right.
station, 7EX, who has both Spark and CW.
Ooh, there you go.
In Idaho, things are livening up a bit. Several new stations reported on the air. 7JD from list a couple different stations, and up in Moscow, Idaho, I guess
It's
that
way
is.
up north from the
Not the
Canadian
other
border.
Moscow.
Yeah.
Installed the spark gap and a new 10-watt CW set. 7ZM, the old standby, will be back on soon with 100 watts.
Ooh.
Nampa has 3 active stations and is QSOing in all directions. 7CG, 7LN are handling the bulk of the traffic. 7EN has worked 8BEO in Watertown, New York, and heard throughout the East. NHJ, 7HJ, it's hard to say those when the number's in the wrong place.
Yeah. What do you
7ZN continue to hold down their end of traffic line. The station in Boise are making some wonderful records and being heard east continuously at a distance of 4,700 miles.
That's pretty good.
You bet.
In Oregon, a reorganization of the ARRL operating department is being undertaken. The bulk of the traffic is still going through 7NA and 7LR, and 7NA turned in a report of 318 messages this month.
Wow.
Who says, and they spell like I do, SEZ.
That's
You
how
know,
much
CW,
CW right there.
You know, a CW wrote that. Who says the old Northwest is dead?
Hey.
7LR has the bad luck to have his 50 water go west. I guess that means like you say now going south.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said
go
going
south.
west.
Go
Yeah. It was 100 years ago. They had different slangs.
They still talk that way in the Midwest. If
Oh,
something
really?
goes west, that
Everything
means
is
they
west and east.
disappear.
That means
You're
they're
right
gone,
about
huh?
that.
Unless
Yeah.
they came to California.
You
You
know,
never hear from them again.
the
Yeah,
real
okay.
world laughs a lot at California.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, well, yeah.
For sure.
I remember that.
That's-
I was in Nebraska.
That's a whole nother subject for another night, though.
Yeah, maybe next month.
So go west, I guess, was like a went south,
I thought it would
and
go
had to
west. young
resort
man.
to the spark to clear his hook,
Mm.
to get his work done, I guess that meant.
All right.
He now reports and putting in 100 watt, he's putting in 100 watt, and the spark gap will soon be part of the counterpoise. And the
Oh,
rest,
that'll be interesting.
and the rest of it, it will go to the counterpoise, and the rest of it in other places.
You cover where you stand.
Where it will help the CW radiation.
Ooh,
Radio sounds like.
Yeah,
I'm trying to picture that.
and then,
Make a fine anchor.
yeah,
Mm.
they put it to good use. Let me get page 2 here.
This is the editorial, yeah.
So, then this is, I like this title here, The Superiority of CW. On a total of 121,592 messages handled by members of the ARRL in February, 108,713 or 89% were continuous wave, and 12,879 or 11% were spark.
That's a lot of messages.
That's a lot of messages.
Yeah, so by this time, the CW was taking over the spark. You know, you got only 11% of them were spark.
Wow.
That's
Goodbye,
like what
Sparky.
FT is doing
The
nowadays.
report also broke all previous records in the number of messages held in 1 month. So CW
That
was
a lot of
coming on its
messages.
own.
Yeah.
Can you imagine listening to?
Yeah. You didn't need a BFO.
That's like on a Navy ship.
If you have enough grow lights, you get to do that.
That's true too. Just need to key it.
Can you imagine it on a QRM?
I was on a ship. We went to Fleet Week. Millie, my wife, and I went to Fleet Week in San Francisco a few years ago. Went on the Jeremiah O'Brien.
Oh,
yeah.
And then, well, I kind of noticed the wire antenna there and started falling it down, and she didn't see me the rest of the day hardly.
Yeah.
You wouldn't kind of heard about that later.
Yeah.
So they were using the original stuff that they used World War II vintage, you know?
Yeah.
And there's these humongous relays or contactors, you'd call them. The difference between a contactor and a relay is like the difference between a boat and a ship. It's kind of, I don't know where it got to. I'd call these contactors though, but.
It depends upon if you drop it on your foot, whether you'll still have a foot.
Yeah, right.
But these things are, you know, they didn't need a side tone. It's clank, a clank, a clank, clank, a clank.
Right.
It was amazing.
Did they have
But
a?
then they had a monitor rig off the side. He said, "You want to go operate?" I said, "Sure."
Oh, that's boring.
That's when Millie lost me for the day.
I was operating
She got sunburned and
I operated the Red Oak Victory, which
I
is
talked to a
over
guy.
in Richmond.
Yeah.
That's a Victory.
That's
ship.
a Victory. Yeah, that's operational.
Yeah, I operated there. We went with a group of YLs from the Ladies of the Net, and we went to operate in the radio room.
Is that a GO9?
And we contacted Jeremiah O'Brien.
Oh, that's way
They
cool.
talk to each other every once in a while.
Yeah.
well, he was on the original frequencies, I guess, talking to
500
KPH probably.
Yeah. They do both commercial.
But I was on the modern rig.
They use the maritime and also the ham radio.
But I never did maritime
Your
mobile
ham
before,
callers.
so that was fun. And before I know it, the day was over. And well, honey, I'll be right back.
And she says, sure you will.
How long have you two been married?
50 years.
We're knocking on that door ourselves. And she
1972.
still talks to you, huh?
Yeah. Amazing.
She still talks to you, no Morse code?
I haven't taught her Morse code yet. That's my fault. Should have done it when she was younger.
Yeah.
You know, I met her when I was 17, so I had an opportunity, but I guess I fell down.
Oh, well.
I actually made a video of the tour we were given of the radio room and the Red Oak Victory. And I could put a link to that in the group's IO.
Oh, good, yeah.
You take a look at that.
Well, there's also the Hornet.
The Hornet, yeah.
We went there and the same thing happened. I got lost for the day. And then I've worked them a couple times since then.
So you have priors.
Yeah. I've never been.
Yeah, I had priors, yeah.
That'd be fun to
That's
do.
at Alameda. Now if I remember right, they have like 5 stations. KPH only has what, 4? 4 stations, Chris, I think?
6.
6, huh?
6, yeah. 3 ham and 3 commercial. Actually, they can go anywhere.
Okay,
but
we're
they
not
don't-
doing commercial, so.
They can go either way. It doesn't matter. But
Yeah, I think it's 3, I think it's 4 all together. But one was
Oh,
being
you may
used
be
by-
right. I know the 500 is down right now.
Yeah, but Hornet has more than that.
Oh, yeah, they got a bunch of them.
It's a huge ship.
A huge ship. Yeah, and one time, KPH used to have 20 transmitters on every maritime band at one time.
Yeah.
20 of them.
I guess at one point, Mare Island had a huge complex.
I don't know.
Well, you remember NPG, that was Gallagher
Sure.
Island, the receive site, and,
Well, there was
That
a
was a
big deal.
Dixon
That was-
receive site, you know, there are all
Yeah.
sorts of.
that's gone. They went by here the other day,
Yeah.
Gag,
Yeah,
it's all gone.
yeah, so, yeah, I need to go back to, Jeremiah. I run across them every once in a while on the air.
Yeah, we need to go back
It's
there.
windy coming down.
Yeah,
By the way, you
It's
mentioned
hard to
the
get in the
difference
mood to
between
drive to the Bay Area
You
though.
mentioned the difference between a ship and a boat. You know what it is?
What's that?
A ship carries boats. If you have lifesaver, you
That's a
have
good point.
lifesavers, you're a ship. That's why a submarine in the Navy is called a boat. They don't carry anything. Yeah, and all the
Is
rest.
that right?
Yes.
wow.
Okay, learn something every day.
Yeah.
I talked to a
But I mean,
guy,
it's kind of a gray area if it's a ship or a
No, a
boat.
lot, yeah.
And contactors and relays are kind of like that.
It's
Like,
a technical thing.
I guess like after 30 amps, I guess you call them contactors.
So,
What do you
so
think,
back
Bill?
in the days of the Titanic, before they had submarines, there
Yeah.
were still
There were
ships.
still ships because they were carrying lifeboats.
Ah,
If you
What's
carry
that?
lifeboats, if you carry any kind of.
That's interesting.
yeah,
So,
yeah, that was.
have you gone into the engine room when they're first leaving the port in the O'Brien? That's the best place. to
Never
be.
made it there.
I know, you
Yeah,
got
but
stuck in
Stuck
the radio
in the
room.
radio room.
But
And
if you go
Never
on one of
left.
their, if you go on one of their tours, you
Uh-huh.
start out in the engine room, because the rest of the whole trip, it's just running. But when you leave the dock, you know, they're changing it from forward to reverse and
Yeah.
speeds and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. So that's the.
I think
interesting
we went
place
out the
to be.
Golden Gate, or maybe not, maybe just the Bay, I'm not
I don't know
sure.
where it is.
They did a
They-
trip to Sacramento.
They did,
a couple
yeah.
of times.
Yeah, I know
Maybe
guys.
O'Brien?
Yep, they did.
Went up
Wow.
the deep water channel and came in.
So the wall, yeah, I guess that they do have a week,
Then they go out and.
because they do have they do have shipping out of, West Stack. huh?
Oh, yeah, yeah, there's port out there, right, the deep
Yeah,
water
okay,
channel.
so I guess it's dredged and it's deep enough
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
that an actual ship,
And
ocean-bearing ship can.
It also went
Go there.
back to the 50th anniversary. of
that's
the-
coming up this year, yep, you're right.
The
Yeah.
ship with, and the crew was mostly all vets that were on it at 50th anniversary,
Now,
Oh.
50th, that would be.
Well, you had to be, all the noise.
90s, huh?
25 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, well, we were in
It was-
Hawaii,
it was- It was supposed to meet the Brown, which was
2000.
in Los Angeles,
Mm.
which was a Liberty, or what's the, O'Brien's a victory ship. Anyway, no, a victory ship. And they got out of the port of Los Angeles and the victory ship pooped out and the O'Brien went all the way there.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Wow.
So it should be.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's gonna do it for tonight.
Wait a minute, what about 50 years ago?
Oh, 50 years ago, I'm
25.
sorry. All right, 50, that's something I
That's
can
our
remember.
time, yeah.
1973, yeah, I remember that real well.
I remember that year.
That's when I got married, moved
Oh,
here.
that's a good reason to remember
Haven't
that.
moved since, so,
You forget that, you're in trouble.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, hey, go ahead.
Oh, a bunch of old critters here, yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, so state-of-the-art homemade solid-state SSB CW transmitter
ooh,
on the cover can be built by reading the book, A Medium Power SSB Transmitter by Timothy Herlick, W9MIJ.
all right.
And it seems to us, talks about volunteer leaders, newcomers, thank volunteers who operate in the public interest and keep the machinery running,
Mm.
and reminds us to lend a helping hand and guide those who are new to amateur radio, which we're still doing today.
Yep.
Construction of a simple to make device described in the beginners and novices, an antenna changeover system,
Ooh.
power output indicator,
Mm.
and they describe a slow scan TV,
Ooh.
was big then. And in case of the,
You needed long,
Minimal
consistent
regulation.
phosphor.
Yep.
Yeah,
yeah, like an old radar screen.
Ooh.
And world above 50 megacycles. Okay, they still called it megacycles in 73.
Yeah, they still did, huh?
I guess they were I remember it was 68,
I thought
69.
68, yeah.
But then I went in the Army and lost a few years there.
Well, I remember KPH, they went to
But-
megahertz, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would, because they didn't quit till just before the turn of the century. Can you imagine we're old enough to say that now?
We are, yeah.
Back before the turn of the century.
Mm,
I mean, it used to be old people that said that.
That's right.
I
Now
got
we're
news
at.
for you.
We turned a
We still
millennium.
do.
Years to be old.
Yeah.
We meet that classification.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Old people are anybody older, 10 years older than we are.
Wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Never make it, never make it.
1998.
Oh, no, I can really remember that.
Oh, yeah. Was a photo of the Russian
Hard to believe that stuff.
biplane. The story of how the amateur packet satellite supports an unusual expectation in North Pole packet sat.
Oh, satellite.
Never knew much about packet. It kind of came and went while I was not in the Navy.
I remember that packet racket, I did some of that, yeah.
You did some packet?
I did some packet racket, yeah. Sound like a couple of horses out, but, yeah, donkeys, that's what it sounds like.
We're still using packet for WinLink and for
Oh, WinLink,
APRS.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
right.
it's not a bad deal for sending for emergency.
It's great for the maritime folks,
Emergency
yeah.
communication emails. A lot to be said for it.
I
Well, that's what
wonder
they-
if today they're still doing 121,000 messages.
Oh, yeah, it's gone, yeah, you're right.
You think it's that high?
That's all shifted over to the internet. So
Well, that's what it
the
is.
volume was a lot less.
But if you're on the ship, yeah, I
Cell
guess,
phones still work with magnets. Just a different application.
mm,
What else did we do?
Oh, pack your handheld and take your next vacation on the rails. Ham radio on the high iron.
oh, boy.
That's it, huh?
Feels
Yeah.
like it was just.
We're toast.
Although I did.
Wasn't too exciting.
I'd almost like to bring my handheld on the train and, have it tuned to the
Yeah, you
railroad
can do that.
frequencies.
Sure.
Yeah.
Listen to, what was going on.
Yeah.
That'd be
When the
interesting.
train would stop, you'd know why, when it stopped between stations.
Yeah.
No,
One thing about train, you can't be in a hurry.
No,
We took a train to LA to visit our daughter a few years ago. Coming back,
took about 12
talked to
hours, right?
somebody
Yeah.
after about 2 stops north, and he missed the train. They put him on a bus. He got to the next stop,
Before the
waited
train.
for 2 hours
Oh,
for
yeah.
the train.
I can relate to that. Last
We-
week,
It can't be, it's fun, but you can't be in a hurry.
We took the train from Truckee down to Sacramento, or actually Roseville. It was a return
Roseville,
trip
that's
from,
correct, you're right.
from a Valentine's Day kind of getaway.
Uh-huh.
It was 10 hours.
Oh,
late.
yeah.
Yeah,
10 hours. late.
Well, somebody from that works at Amtrak told me Amtrak technically has first priority.
as opposed
Well, I'm
to,
not done yet.
The freight.
No,
But
Amtrak has first priority unless something goes wrong. And
oh,
something always goes wrong.
well, of course.
So technically they have the first priority, but something goes wrong, which it always does. And, they have to stop for some reason because somebody got ran over or some kind of mishap, and there's always something, especially on certain runs.
Yeah.
And then they lose their priority. So that's when they're always pulling over to let the freight by.
you
Ah,
don't want the freight to go dead.
That's where the money is.
That's the
Phil,
money
you're
they-
going to Europe, right?
Yes.
There, the train is with a precision that our airlines is.
Oh, yeah.
Europe, that's
Oh,
their
yeah.
version.
In fact,
And
we're
it's
doing
incredible.
Scotland on Scottish Rail,
Yeah, it is.
which ought to be kind of.
Didn't
Right
you
under
do
the
Canada from coast to coast or something? Was that
Yeah.
you?
We did Canada, we did the Rocky Mountaineer
that's not bad.
out of Vancouver, takes you up to Banff. And then we went on up further to, can't think of it. And then we took Canadian Rail all the way across to Toronto.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
from Toronto, we took a bus up to Niagara Falls.
Oh, yeah.
And then we went on over to Quebec.
Okay. How about the Siberian Railroad?
And
That'll take you a
then
week.
Quebec, we flew
Maybe.
home. Yeah, that was an
Yeah,
interesting trip.
That sounds like it, yeah.
By the way, there are no moose in Canada.
No?
No?
We never saw a single moose the whole damn trip.
Huh.
You can go to Alaska, you can go to Montana, but you're not gonna see a moose in Canada. Except for Bullwinkle, and he's
Oh,
stuffed.
Bullwinkle, he's different, yeah. Frostbite Fall, when I was in Minnesota.
Frostbite, yeah, there you go.
Frostbite, yeah.
Hey, I got the whole series of it. I downloaded it one day on Christmas, the day after Christmas for my twin. It was MP4, it was 29 gigs. That took 6 hours to download that sucker. Anyway, I converted all that stuff down to MP3 and sent it to him. Anyway, got the whole series, all 5 years of it.
Bullwinkle?
Yep.
Rocky and Bull.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
my
That
favorite
was
show,
the
one of my
funniest
favorites, all-time
series.
classic,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was.
Definitely too
Hilarious.
right.
Okay, well, I think this is the end of the meeting. It's
All right,
9:30.
Let's head on.
Time to end this thing.
All right,
Thanks for hanging in there with us,
you're welcome, thank you.
Thank you, bye.
Bob and
Bye.
Good
Kevin.
conversation.
All right, yeah.
Thanks for the
Let's
cookies.
do it again
Thanks for
next
the
month.
coffee.
All righty.
73.
M3, you gonna make
7-3. Good night.
Call me. We'll figure it out.
I will.
Okay, you gotta save it, you gotta save it, don't you?
When's a good time to call?
Yeah.